What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I am your host, Nick, and I gotta say, I'm very optimistic about this Bachelor season. Very. I'll get into it momentarily. We have an amazing episode lined up for you. Obviously, we'll break down last night's episode of the Bachelor premiere. Grant's journey of love is now kicking off. We got Traitors. We got some Salt Lake City reunion. We have Robyn and Nikki from Traitors, both excommunicated from the castle. They will be joining us later in the show to talk about, WTF. Why were they kicked out? Especially Nikki really got stabbed in the back.
Chriselle really.
She's like, I hate.
I felt her pain.
Yeah.
Don't say it. Like
she said it. She said, "I'm here to catch traitors."
She's an empath.
Like you
lesson
tell
learned, guys. If all you got is the energy in the room, maybe don't vote off your bestie.
It was like watching Bambi's mom shoot Bambi.
Yeah, it was. Anyways, we'll get into that later this episode. Bachelor. I want to get into the Bachelor. I want to kick things off right before we get to household headlines. I wasn't really sure going into the season. We had the pleasure of interviewing Grant not too long ago. If you don't know much about Grant, you want to learn about Grant, I know they don't do much with the intro package. Obviously, he was on Jen's season, and he didn't. He was like a top 5, top 6. Anyways, that episode, that Going Deeper with Grant, is out there. But Grant, nice guy. Really, really. What we learned about Grant, super nice. Definitely a gentleman, successful, good looking, has a lot of qualities, but I wasn't sure about how messy could Grant get, I wasn't sure. And then obviously, you never know with the women they cast, that's really not Grant's job, and who knows, they're not really ever casting for The Bachelor. So you never really know. Here's why I'm optimistic. I'm super optimistic because I've always said if The Bachelor could pull this off, it would probably be one of the best seasons of all time. And if you guys saw the Super Teas, now the Super Teas, hard to trust sometimes because, they really are, specifically around the drama. So it does seem dramatic. But at the very end, boy, they were I don't know how that's edited to the point where most of it's not true. And that at the end was, assuming it's Grant talking to his dad, I believe that was his dad. Also talking to Jesse. Where it's just going into the final date. Grant doesn't know who he was going to pick, to the point where Jesse's like, hey, you need to decide because they bring the person you're not going to pick first. And it's just he's like, I don't fucking know. And if that's how it plays out, it's going to be good. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be messy. Because, if we all love the women, his final 2, then we're going to feel bad for one. It's going to be kind of awkward. That's going to be great. What if we love one but hate the other? What if one of the 2 finalists are the villain of the season? Oh, that would be epic, right? Lots of good possibilities. Anyways, very optimistic about this season. What did you all think of night 1?
I loved it. I was like, I don't know that I've seen The Bachelor make out with this many people the first night, but I was here for it. I was like, test the waters.
3? Was it 3?
It was quite a few.
It was more than 3.
There was a point where I was like, I wanted Grant to just make out with every single one.
Yeah.
I was like, pour it up.
Do it.
Yeah.
Get in there. But I actually loved his women. I still do think Allie Jo is going to be the villain.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were 5 kisses, by the way.
I don't think Allie Jo is going to be the villain.
All right,
I think she's going to have an early exit.
She might just be from Jersey.
She was in the super teaser.
She was. I think the Puerto Rican lady.
Carolina.
Yeah, I think she's definitely going to be a villain.
You think she's giving villain?
There was a scene where she is walking up some stairs and she's basically said, yeah, I'm the villain or something villainous.
Who is your favorite entrance?
I think my favorite entrance was Latia. She's bad at basketball, but she had the sparkly. She just the dress was insane. I mean, honestly, I feel like the fashion this season was kind of blah.
Really? I was like, I really do love sparkles. So
no, a few of them pulled it off. A few of them looked like they were just guests at a cocktail wedding attire.
First kiss. Was this a...
Oh no, she was giving fashion. I liked her. Alicia.
Alicia.
She was giving goddess.
She was giving fashion.
It was like a toga party.
The neck. She was giving fashion.
Maybe, what do I know?
I don't know. It all kind of gives prom dress to me, but it's cute and I like it. And I thought they were all really sweet.
I feel like Rose could have maybe pulled something more. She just had a silk satin dress, Yeah. Chloe, the red high neck, was also kind of giving wedding guest.
What about Dina? Dina's dress
Dina looked amazing.
She slayed.
Yeah.
Dina looked amazing. So did Zoe, the t-shirt, shooting the t-shirts.
That
she
was my favorite.
That was
that was a
baller.
good one.
That was awesome.
Plus, she was last.
Isn't she an engineer?
Yeah, engineer and model.
That's so tight.
Model.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Rose came out first. Zoe, she came out last. That usually is important.
When did you come out?
Well, I was middle of the pack. Yeah, I was an underdog, baby. They didn't see me coming. Yeah.
We got Alex with the silent E.
That was
first impression
hard for me.
For the
I'll be
drama.
Well, at
honest.
least we know.
Drama
At least
llama.
we know it's now Alex and not Alexi or.
Alexei.
Yeah.
I was shocked by that first impression, Rose. Didn't see that coming.
I didn't either.
Maybe he was like, I feel like I have to give it to her because if she brings a llama and then she
No.
doesn't
I
get the first
couldn't.
impression
I
rose, that's a
could-
little.
I couldn't take the like skits with the llama. Like, oh my god,
It was a bit much.
It was too much. Everyone was doing. Then
Unintended.
Jesse was doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Alicia beefing with the llama. I was like, I love Alicia more for this. Linda.
Well, I'll say this
Linda.
much. The first impression rose is very much the decision of The Bachelor. Very little influence from the producers go into that decision. So he must really like her. And couple that with the fact that like Alex gets the first one-on-one date. That's like a double target on your back.
Ooh, say more.
The former showrunner always told me after my time on the show that they tend to get their villain from either the first impression rose or the first one-on-one date because it puts a target on their back and then that person has a hard time handling the attention. You know, when you get that early validation and if you feel like there's a connection and then all of a sudden you feel like you have this connection, a bunch of people have had no time. So when you feel like you have a connection with someone, you take things more seriously. You start not even realizing, you start kind of dismissing your peers a little bit because they're out there hanging with their homies and you're falling in love and people are just kind of get annoyed by you. So it's a double whammy.
So much for a no drama llama.
How did
Yeah,
y'all feel
yeah.
about Bailey's constant selfies?
It's a
I
lot.
think Leia was triggered.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Leia was
I fucking hated that. I literally,
It's who she
Oh.
is.
She's an influencer.
it just,
Yeah.
when I thought I was like, oh, this is too much. And then she kept doing it.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
not great quality. I'll say that.
They weren't great
It's
quality.
a vision
No.
into your life, Grant. I mean, like, take a picture of me.
She was honest up front.
She
I'll
was.
give her that.
I do
liked-
respect that. She knows where
I
you
will
stand.
say I
Yeah,
liked the
where she
Bob
stands.
bit. Like the Bob bit was
Yeah,
cute.
they're
That
cute.
was funny. But it was just like the constant selfies that it was like, okay. I mean, I guess it must have been some producer's phone. They were like, here, take this in with you.
I will say, night one, you know how, well.
We're going to see all those photos on Bachelor's Instagram.
You
for sure.
guys don't know this, but in the NFL world, they often say how week one is a lie because it's early in the season. You know, there's a lot of upsets because, like, it's week one, teams aren't really at their full capacity. I would say the same about night one on The Bachelor. I think we have to be careful about, like, our observations about who these people are night one because, again, it's night one. They're super nervous. They're coming out. They're told to do a bit. They're encouraged to do a bit. They're encouraged to stand out. So like, let's let the dust settle.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Like maybe Bailey will just like completely lose the whole like phone bit. Like for those who have been watching for a while, Peter Weber's season, one of the more iconic seasons of all time. A la Victoria is not showing up for hometowns, but Hannah Ann, another iconic character. Everyone thought she was going to be a villain early on. She had like Champagne Gate with Kelsey, and Hannah Ann really just kind of like settled in and like really became the unproblematic, like sweet, dare I say slightly boring. And I mean that, and I love Hannah Ann in the best possible way. But like, yeah, it was, you got to let the dust settle before like the real drama unfolds. So, week one's kind of a lie.
I did like Juliana a lot. I wish she would have actually taken a bite of that cannoli though.
Yeah, she really
And she
just
kept
only got
chewing.
the
And
edge.
she was chewing for forever.
She,
I was
she
like,
may
what are
have
you
been
even
like
chewing?
nervous, dry mouth. When you like try to eat something and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
She had
Yeah.
lipstick on. What is she supposed to do? Ruin the makeup?
Yeah, I think she
For the
should
bit
go
of the
for
cannoli.
it.
Yeah.
She should
If you're gonna do a bit,
Let him wipe the cannoli off your lip.
open
maybe
up that
a
throat
kiss.
and go in
Maybe
for the
a
kiss. Yeah,
also, like, do a real Lady in the Tramp.
yeah.
I want it real.
What about Parisa's slideshow?
It was cute.
I loved it.
I loved it. At first, obviously they did her dirty with like, let's like take away the stereotype of crazy lady and cats while like looking at her rock collection.
Laying on her stomach.
I'm
with
kind of
that
obsessed
angle.
with her.
But again, back to like, again, night one is about doing these types of things. And I thought she delivered it and sold it in a great way. Like, obviously you sit down for a PowerPoint, it's giving like, oh my God, like type A, like, ugh, like, oh my God. And then like, she she had a lot of fun with it. I thought she did a really good job. I was shocked that she got the last rose, but I think she got the last rose because, again, early on, they will always pick one or two people who they think kind of gives crazy eyes and like is the most animated facial expressions, because like the longer they have to wait for the rose, the more they just like lose their fucking mind. And it's like she seems to be has a lot of animated facial features. So I don't think her getting the last rose means she's like on the chopping block.
She looked like Mariska Hargitay. That's all I could think the whole time.
She did.
Special Victims Unit. Hargitay. Law and Order.
Mariska Hargitay.
Law and Order.
Your
Law and
girl?
Order.
Like your
Who looks like her?
Parisa. She looks like her.
Interesting.
I do not see that.
I don't see
at
that.
all. Sorry, Justin.
But wait,
They're both white and brunette.
No, it's the face, like the facial
but
features.
did Parisa's slideshow at all give anybody How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days when she's like,
Yes.
family album?
Kids.
I love her.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But she did
In a
it
cute way.
Yeah, in a very cute.
I wish
fun
she
way.
would have like kind of, and maybe she did and they cut it out, but I wish she would have leaned into like AI really knows us.
Because that was
because
AI
it was
as fuck. That was,
obviously AI.
that was the first time AI showed up on in the Bachelor mansion. That's kind of creepy.
Oh, I thought she
Wow.
was good at photoshopping. I was like,
No.
No, it was a
That's
little
why I wish
wonky.
she would have been like AI
Yeah.
knows us so well, and it maybe would have.
There were like 6 fingers in there for sure.
Yeah,
I bet that Parisia would like make a mean YouTube video essay though.
I
And I
was
would
shocked
watch it.
that Alicia got second to last rose after they kissed and had such a moment, and
Yeah.
Cute banter.
yeah,
They had a lot of chemistry.
could you imagine y'all kissing and then him being like, "You gotta go."
I would.
No, that she
Oh,
was
no.
imagining that for like an hour, because that first rose ceremony when he like walks in, says like 4 names, walks out, waits 5 minutes, comes in, says 4 more
Really?
names, walks out. And then sometimes if he like forgets the 4 names, because like they usually give you 4 names, and they're like, if you forget, doesn't matter. Honestly, you can do one at a time, because every time you walk out, they won't know why. They'll freak the fuck out. It'll be great. But usually it's 4. Yeah, they'll give you 4 names, and you walk in, walk out, give 4, and then you're just waiting the whole time. So yeah, that first rose ceremony took like 45 minutes, and she was just like going in, being like, we met out, I got the first kiss, blah blah blah, and then he's just like handing out the roses. Anyways, yeah.
It's also it was intense when he would just grab the rose and just stop at every group of women and then be like, okay, keep going.
Oh,
Yeah.
for first impression.
oh my
Yeah.
god. Wait, Rose and the clay rings. I thought that was cute.
The moon ring,
The clay rings.
when they had
Oh.
the clay and they
Oh.
were
yeah. And then Grant's sister pulled up. I kind of like that move.
I liked
I
it.
called it though. I was like, it's his sister. It's definitely his sister.
Oh my God, I was with them. I was like, is this an ex? Like, this is so
Mm.
shady.
No, 'cause as
She
soon
looks exactly like Grant. I feel like as soon as they saw her, they would have been like, they're related in some way.
Well,
That is
so true.
That's
From the
Grant
back, I was like,
and- yeah.
okay.
Well, they were cutting in and out to the ITMs of all the women giving commentary, and then it was always like, this girl, she's a baddie, she's awesome, she's
I like
this, she's
that.
that. And I'm like, it's definitely a sister. Because otherwise it would have been like, who's this motherfucking you know?
Showing up late.
Yeah, like you could tell it was someone
Oh,
like
That's
and,
a good point.
and he was like, oh shit, but not like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
He
yeah.
was too excited for it to be somebody dark from his past.
Great looking family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great looking family. Yeah, fun little bit. Anyways, optimistic about this season. Wasn't sure going in, but I'll be tuning in.
They're doing the damn thing.
Do you guys have any front runners?
Dina.
Zoe.
I think Juliana for sure. Zoe, yeah. Latia. I
Was
hope
Zoe
Latia.
basketball?
No, that's
No, that was
Latia.
Janae.
Oh.
Oh no, Janae did the chalk and Janae went home. I was really
Yeah.
bummed.
Zoe was the
The gun.
t-shirt.
Oh
T-shirt
yeah.
gun.
No.
Latia had the sparkly basketball.
Okay. I'm gonna say my top 4 right now are gonna be Latia, Zoe,
Rose.
Rose. You think maybe?
Mhm.
Alex.
There were so many clips of her like sobbing, crying. You can only
Rose
be
was like,
sobbing, crying.
Rose was like,
if,
you did me so dirty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mine's Alex.
It's definitely not
Zoe.
Carolina because you saw that clip of her
No,
going to
okay,
Grant
so
being like, "What
Rose-
did you say about me?"
Carolina, I think she's gonna go the way of
Sydney.
she's gonna be like top 6. She'll go home right before hometowns.
She was going to be one of my finalists.
No,
She still
she,
can be. Like it's like
Carolina,
we're just guessing here.
Alex, Alicia, and yeah, that's what I got so far.
All right, so I got
And Zoe.
Zoe, Latia, Rose, and then
Juliana.
Natalie.
Juliana for sure.
Natalie, maybe.
which one's Juliana?
Juliana's the one who ate the cannoli and they had that cute
Italian.
banter. She was
Her?
like playing the
Yeah,
piano and he was like, "You're so talented." And they were kissing and he was like, she was
Okay.
talking during the kissing and they were like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Carolina. I think the fact that I loved how she admitted dating a DJ.
Yeah,
That was good. Some good self awareness.
it was.
But like I think she's like she's been like behind the DJ booth a lot, I think.
Yeah.
I think this environment that she in is not as intimidating for her as it is for these other women, and I think that's why she's ultimately going to be the villain. She's going to be unafraid and cocky and confident, and like it's going to start rubbing some of these women the wrong way.
She was crying every 2 seconds. So
in the Super Teas?
no, just the episode.
just like episode 1.
Just
Oh yeah.
Every conversation, tears.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
We don't either.
Okay, well, exciting times. All right, household headlines. What do we got?
Love is Blind is returning on Valentine's Day for season 8.
All right, love is still in the air.
Wow.
Where's the season again?
I think it's Minnesota.
It's Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Minneapolis, the Twin Cities,
The home of Prince.
the home of Prince, Midwest drama.
Do you think people are actually watching this on Valentine's Day? Because the first batch is like 3-4 episodes.
We will be.
I will be.
Well,
I feel like Valentine's Day is like at this point a little overrated. I feel like less and less people are going out to dinner and like doing this big hurrah. I feel like most people now are like, let's order in, let's like watch a movie,
Make
let's
dinner, do
Yeah.
something cute together, personal. Because have you been to lunch or dinner on Valentine's Day?
in LA?
No.
Yeah, it's a scam.
Sounds like a mess.
It's a pre-fixed menu. You're sitting there with
I'm
like
already out.
couples that are like couldn't get a babysitter, so you're in between strollers, and this is like Beverly Hills. Like I'm like we did this last year, and I was like, never again are we going out for Valentine's Day.
I just like everything being heart shaped that you can buy. As someone that really loves
Me
like
too.
a little heart shape, no matter what time of year it is, I get to bulk up.
Nick and I went to Home Goods the other day,
I remember
and I had just ordered Valentine's Day baskets, and I got Easter baskets, and so I was like, okay, I've got to like find some stuff to fill these. And we were in Home Goods, and Nick was like, what is all? I mean, they've got like this heart-shaped noodles and glitter, and he's like, who is buying this? Like, oh, it's
5-foot long
popcorn.
wiener dog.
Yeah,
In the shape
5
of
foot
a
long-
heart?
No,
Oh.
it was a bench.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was very much that trend on TikTok that's like, excuse me, ma'am, do you have a
I love this.
5 foot long? Yeah.
We got to do that.
It's like the weirdest shit. And they're like, oh yeah, right over here.
It's like, do you have a frog doing a backwards yoga pose while holding a hose?
Do you, have, do you have a statue of a corn of the cob that's peeled like a banana that kind of looks a little phallic? Yes,
Of course
we
they do.
We just got it in.
Yeah. Then we went to the Apple store, which was triggering for me. I shattered my phone.
Trying to steal a lemon from our neighbor's tree.
They were,
so it was kind
first
of
of all,
giving karma.
they were hanging over in our yard. They have a giant lemon tree. There's hundreds of lemons, more than enough to go around. Anyway, some are hanging over. I was
It's
marinating.
giving
Huh?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes, it is giving
Larry David he's like wants him to pay to have the tree removed or whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, I was making shish kebabs, which was already an epic
God.
fail. Natalie hated it. I really failed dinner. Yeah.
How do you feel shish kebab?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Natalie was like, I guess I'll have cereal.
I wanted to
Aw.
order Chinese, and he was like, what if we just made like shish kebabs? That's different and new, like chicken kebabs. And I was like, all right, sure, I could do that.
Anyways,
The chicken wasn't cooked.
it didn't land.
Oh, no.
It was cooked,
Like in
but,
Southern
Natalie was just like,
hospitality.
It was like
Natalie
light
decided
pink.
it wasn't cooked.
Ooh.
It was fine. It was more than fine. It wasn't my best work, but
The rice was all wrong.
so
Sorry.
in the process of procuring 2 lemons, I shattered my phone. Like shattered. Like it was like it wasn't like the screen was just
It wasn't even shattered. It was just like glitched. Like, like he didn't break the screen, but like
Like,
the
you
whole
could
screen
not
was
use
green.
it.
Yeah.
There was
Can't
no-
see it.
Yeah.
It was giving
You're not-
technical difficulties.
Oh my God, technical
Yeah.
difficulties. So in the morning night, I decided to go to the Apple store. I had some laptop issues. I figured, you know what, let's just go. And, I had some old earbuds that I needed to like hopefully replace as well. And we went there early. And then I was like, oh, it turns out they're not open until 11. We left at 10. So like, let's go to Home Depot and like have some quality time and
Home
connect.
Goods.
Home Goods, whatever. And then so we promptly got to the Apple store. I got to the Apple store at 11 o'clock. As soon as they opened up, there was like me and 3 other people. There's no one there. It was raining. Finally, it rained in LA, by the way. Yay for all of us. And then I'm like, hey, I need to buy a phone. No problem. They're quick to help me about that. Buying anything, no problem. Tons of people. Hey, I have my laptop and some stuff. I have some help. Like, oh, well, do you have an appointment for that? I'm like, no, there's like 3 people in the store. Well, I guess, you know what? We can help you out. As if like they're doing me a favor. Meanwhile, there's also a guy like on a microphone yelling out, being like, all right, the workshop starts in 5 minutes. There's 3 people in the fucking store. And he's like on a microphone yelling to the whole store. Well, I'm just trying to get some help for my laptop and my phone and my earbuds. And then they made me an appointment for my laptop. And then So they're like, oh, well, it's your charging cord. I'm like, great. Can I get in? Because I got the laptop like 6 months ago. Yeah, like, let's see if it's under warranty, but we have to like book an appointment for that to like see if it's under warranty. Like, I guess. Anyways, I had the appointment. And they're like, what about my AirPods? Like, do you have an appointment for that? I'm like, this isn't my appointment? No, you have to book a separate appointment for that. I'm like, huh? I'm like about to lose my fucking mind. Derek worked at a Apple store. I don't know how he did it. I don't know what's...
Wait, are you telling me that you have to have a separate appointment?
That's what they were telling me.
Device?
Which one did you go to? Was it the Grove?
The one in the Americana? I don't know.
Mm.
Anyways, but they're like, oh, good news.
We have an appointment?
No, your computer is under warranty and we can replace your charging cord. Oh, bad news. We don't have that replacement cord in the color of this one. So we can't give you a new one here. We can ship it to you. And I'm like, well, I have no other way to like charge my laptop. So I thought, by the way.
The color? Wait, they wouldn't give it to you because it was the wrong color?
Because apparently a different color. But so I'm like, well, I guess I'll just have to buy one. Because then I thought I was going to get a different color. No, I got the same color, but like that one's available for purchase, not for the replacement.
Oh my God.
I'm losing my mind.
Yeah,
This does sound like a Curb episode.
Then while I'm like getting my new phone and uploading it, I'm like, my computer's like at like 1%. So I'm like, hey, do you have any like chargers for this laptop? Now I got one of the new laptops, and you know how like every like 6 months, like Apple like changes all their chargers.
Hate it.
And like my old laptop had the 2 USBs, and then like remember the one that had like the magnetic charger? Yep. That's one mine has now, where it just kind of breaks away. Well, turns out my computer charges both ways. I never knew. And the guys who sold me the new charger, never fucking told me. But this other guy's like, oh, you can use this. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is after I spent $50 on a charger that is under warranty that they told me they couldn't sell me this one. I was about to lose my fucking mind.
That's warranted. I think that's absolutely fair.
I feel your pain.
And then the man was Nick rolled his eyes and gave some attitude, and the employee
I just rolled my eyes. He's like, "Are you mad at me?" I'm like,
"A little bit."
He was like, "Are you mad at me or Apple?" And Nick was like, "Apple," and he was like, "Because I just work here."
That's such a meme move.
Like,
it's
valid.
Like, you know what? Yeah. No, I honestly no. Now I'm like, now I hate you. Now I think you're an asshole, and I hope that the rest of your life is nothing but misery.
Nick, I want you to know that you're seen. I've also been a Karen in an Apple before, so I feel you.
It was triggering. It was really, really, really fucking triggering.
I feel like we all have a place or something that brings out a Karen in us. And mine is the people who knock on my door after they walk past my no soliciting sign, and you witnessed me.
I did.
The other day, as this woman, it's always when River's down for a nap and the dogs go fucking crazy when people ring the doorbell. And this girl was like, hi, Mr. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. And I was like, I'm his wife. And she was like, okay, we were just replacing windows. Do you have any windows or doors that you would like me to look at to replace? And I was like, no, but did you see the no soliciting sign? And she was like, oh, I see it now. And I was like, great, because you just woke up my baby with my dogs barking. And she was like, all right, well, I'll be seeing myself out. Like, as you should.
Yeah,
Thank
bitch.
you. Thank you. So I feel like we all have a place that the DMV, I feel like, brings out a lot of Karens.
That should, though. It's the DMV.
Gas stations.
It's like, the DMV is run by an inefficient government and like whatever. Like Apple is like richer than most countries. Yeah. It's the richest company in the world because they're pricks.
Yeah. You know what's annoying at an Apple store is if you ask for someone above them, they'll be like, I'm the highest person here. That's what got me irritated once.
No, if that were to happen to me, I'm digging my feet in. Well, I'm not leaving. I'm like, that's not true.
Let's just say I have a corporate contact after that visit.
Oh my God.
Your follow through, Justin, is really...
It's impressive.
I aspire.
Thank you.
For it. Yeah, it's really
great.
Most
people are just threateners, but you're actually like...
I say it peacefully, and I think that's where they're like, oh, we can't even say this person's mad.
Yeah, no, it's great. My face crumbles. I just...
Do y'all know what's going on with Billy Ray Cyrus right now?
Not good, I don't think. I don't know.
I know Trace, he posted an Instagram full post with caption saying that he's praying for his father. Like, I hope he gets help. He may not be here for long. A lot of like strong emotions in that post, but he's not explicitly saying what's going on. I know people are assuming that it's like addiction, maybe alcohol.
Well, I remember when him and Fire Rose got a divorce and there was like audio footage released of him like screaming at her or something. And then I know Miley has spoken about how she's like, I got my narcissistic side from my father and none of them communicate with him or something. But then, I saw Trace Cyrus, which I didn't even know there was a Trace Cyrus.
No.
And I guess there's another son too.
It's Brayson.
Brayson.
His
There
brother's
it
name
is.
is Brayson.
I mean, it seems like an ongoing saga that this family obviously faces constant turmoil and a lot of sadness. I don't know.
I mean, do you feel sad for him that he feels like he needs to come to Instagram in hopes that that'll be a way to get through to his dad?
Yeah.
It's a sad situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Scary Movie is being rebooted, and I'm personally very happy about this.
On a far assistance. I'm ready.
Just everybody. But I mean, it came to my attention that Nick can care less about the scary movies.
Never really got into it. I didn't really even get into the Screams after like Scream 1. But it's my understanding that the Scary Movies franchise was based off the Scream.
The first
franchise.
one is, but like every other movie is about like a different scary movie.
And we're
Are
all
they
very
scary?
I think Joel McHale was
they're like
cast
parodies.
in the most recent Scary Movie. I knew that just because fan of his. Any other reasons why we're excited about it?
I just think we need like, because I used to do where I'd watch this like the actual horror movie and then watch the scary movie version after, and then I'd be like healed.
And the first two were directed by the Wayans brothers. I don't know who directed the other few, but the Wayans brothers are taking it back over. So this will be directed by them again. So it'll be in the vein, I'm assuming, of the first two, which was explicitly funny.
Ashley Tisdale was in the last one with Medea.
Yep.
Okay.
I actually
The
think Sarah
seventh
was
one?
in the fifth one too.
It's just, I feel like we're severely lacking in just good, goofy, silly fun
Yeah.
for like pure idiotic and lunatic purposes.
I don't
and
need
that's
it to
what
make
I'm really
sense.
happy.
I just want to like sit in a movie and just like be allowed to laugh.
Yeah.
So
Bring
it is
back
actually
comedy.
funny.
Yeah.
They're spoofs.
Have you seen the scene of where she's like, Cindy, the TV's leaking? You've never seen that or heard it?
Have you seen The Ring?
No.
Okay.
I think you need to watch one. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you
Which
like
one
scary
do-
movies?
It depends on how scary, I guess. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want nightmares.
Yeah.
But I also like,
That's why you watch Scary Movie.
I love
but is
scary
it like,
movies.
No.
You might feel for a second like, oh, this is kind of scary, but then they immediately make you laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then it's like a dick joke.
A dick joke.
Yeah.
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 Love a dick
Okay.
joke.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Love a dick joke. In the spirit of, since everyone responded to my losing my mind over the Girl Scout cookie,
Were they on your side or off your side?
I don't know.
Oh.
Don't care.
Okay.
People had opinions. I had one. But I came up with, I have a new like fun segment I want to do. Daily Dilemma. Leia came up with the title of random family saga stories where there may or may not be a debate to be had. This week's edition is wedding themed. Leia, can you read that headline?
Absolutely. Mom catches heat for agreeing to pay for her daughter's wedding, but not her stepdaughter's. Ooh.
Valid.
Yeah.
I'll give a little more context if you want.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so the two daughters have gotten engaged, and only Hannah was informed that her wedding would be paid for. When Alexa asked her father if he and her biological mother would be paying for her wedding, he told her no. He said she should have a wedding that she and her fiance can afford. The sisters went to lunch, and Alexa found out that Hannah's wedding was being paid for, and she called her dad crying that it's unfair.
So wait, who's the biological parent here?
The dad.
Alexa asked her father. Yeah, so it's the dad.
Yeah. It's her stepdaughter. So the dad is the biological parent. The mother is the stepmother.
Damn, that's dirty. Well, who's paying for it though? Is it the stepmom, or like who makes the bucks, man? Because
True. I think it's dirty. I don't like it.
but like when did they get
Is
married?
if I want to pay for River's wedding and you like had a kid with someone prior, you can pay for their wedding. You and her mom
that's
can
kinda
pay
what
for
I'm
that
saying.
wedding.
You know, like if this couple got married 3 years ago or something, and like the mom her whole life has been saving
No, they're-
up for her daughter's
Yes,
wedding.
that is what happened. The mother was saving up for the wedding.
Yeah.
So John believes that they should split the money evenly between the sisters, although the woman told him no because I was the one who had been saving the money.
I'm
Valid.
team mom here.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah.
Team mom. How long have they been married? Do we know that?
Bad dad.
Have they been married for has the stepdaughter been in her life for like 5 years?
That's the thing. Is it like they got remarried when the stepdaughter was like 10 or when she was like 30? Because I think that's
Even if-
also different.
You know, how old are the girls now?
I am not sure.
Either way, I think I'm team mom. I think it's a bad dad story.
I think the stepchild's biological mom and her biological dad should step up to the plate and help her out.
Maybe there's no mom.
When their daughter was 10 years old, from that point forward, it was decided that she and John would split Hannah's cost while he would split Alexa's cost with her mother. She claims that at the moment, she told John that she was starting a savings account for Hannah and hoped I could save enough money to pay for her wedding or a down payment on a house. The woman said their finances are kept separate and the conversation didn't come up again. So this was a conversation they had when one of their daughters at least was 10 years old. And she said, I'm saving up for my daughter to have a wedding. John could have asked Alexa's mom to start a bank account to save up for their wedding, did not. And this is where we're at right now. And I don't think she's an asshole for
No, I'm team mom.
Yeah.
team mom.
I have step siblings. I'm also
There's
team
a,
mom.
there's a lot of stepkids out there who are not happy.
Who do not agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But take that up with John.
Yeah.
John, you fucked up.
Dirty John.
Dirty John, man.
Yeah, absolutely dirty John.
Mhm.
Would you get married at a Chuck E. Cheese?
I already did.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
Chuck E. Cheese had an April Fool's joke, right, or something about a wedding package.
About saying that, yeah, there's a wedding package, and then basically a couple had a wedding at 8 a.m. at a Chuck E. Cheese for $800.
8 a.m. That's
Yeah.
early risers to go to that wedding.
But I
Yeah,
think-
but like she opted out. Like what I found fascinating about this story is like because she was going to have a different, more expensive wedding at a different, more expensive pizza place.
It says because the bride wanted to have a fun wedding that didn't break the bank, she started looking for local pizza restaurants that could host around 25 guests, but everything exceeded her budget. I thought it didn't make sense to spend thousands on a pizza dinner, so I tried to think outside the box and come up with a venue that would be more fun, but still on the cheaper side. And
This is great.
they landed at
I mean,
Chuck
because
E.
honestly,
Cheese.
like if you're gonna go to a pizza joint, just
Yeah.
pick
Yeah.
the cheapest one
Well,
and the one you can have more
I
fun.
thought you were gonna say if you're gonna go to a pizza joint, just get married.
There's that. But what I thought was also super cute about this story is that not only was it only $800, everybody got an unlimited game bracelet. So they were all
Fun.
playing arcade games for the reception. And then their like parting gift was they got a prize with the tickets that they won.
And they also did it
Cute.
before they opened to the public, 11 a.m. So there's not a ton of kids just running around.
That's
Mm.
cute.
That's awesome.
I think they nailed it. I'm sorry.
No, it's definitely.
Listen,
yeah.
you can't if you're not if your sister-in-law doesn't own a beautiful animal farm where you can have a Yellowstone themed typed wedding, go Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
You know,
Legit though.
like
Yeah.
that's what we would honestly. It was like that or Chuck E. Cheese.
Mm.
Yeah. So
I would go Margaritaville. City Walk
Mm.
Margaritaville.
okay.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably do like a movie theater that's had the arcade in it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely would love that.
Another dilemma. Uber is giving out free month of rides for teens who failed their driver's test.
I feel like this is an Uber scam. I don't know.
So we're congratulating them for failing
Basically,
their test.
the
So
way-
like dumb kids get free rides.
The reason they're
Yeah.
doing it is to
Study,
basically
kids.
they're
Come on.
trying to help the parents out. So they're saying because the parents have busy schedules with like dropping them off at practice to school, that like
Take care of your kids.
I'm not putting my kid in an Uber.
Yeah.
well,
Uber's like, sorry, parents, you're too busy not parenting your kids. Let us.
Let strangers
strange man
take your
take your
kid
kid.
to soccer practice.
well, so it's like a teen account connected to the parent's account. So I think you could assume it's a more safer
Oh,
version.
so they're letting the drivers know that a minor is about to enter their vehicle. They're giving them a heads up.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
You're trying too hard, Uber.
yeah.
Hey, parents, just parent.
Uber.
You know, be involved with your kids.
Why don't you have driving lessons for kids then? Like
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe teach them a skill.
Instead of putting them in a car
It's like an
alone with a
internship
stranger,
program.
yeah, teach
Like
them
an
how to
apprenticeship.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Maybe
what?
that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
The driving test can be hard for some people.
Not for me. I passed with flying colors.
I
Me too.
failed my first one.
You did?
Yeah.
Your written test, you failed like
No,
3.
that's,
permit
that's as
test?
an adult. No, when I was 16. No, the written tests in California are bullshit. And it's like, they're complicated questions. No, my first driver's test, it was a 4-way stop. So I thought,
You totally paused.
I paused and then there was a car coming. It was, and then the driver's like, yeah, there's a car coming. You failed. But then the second time I only got 1 point off.
Wait, what do you mean? So you stopped at just an intersection that was go?
I was about to go and I would have made it for sure, but the instructor told me to stop. And since they had to like stop me from going, I guess that was an automatic fail of some kind. I don't know.
Wait, can I just say that I don't think driver instructors get enough credit because that's a very dangerous job. Like, think about that you're
Yeah.
literally in the car with somebody who does not know
Terrifying.
how to drive while everybody else is driving. You've got people driving crazy because they're experienced.
No.
Some of them
True.
do.
You're
Some of
putting
them
your
don't,
life in
though.
danger.
But some of them,
Question.
no.
Nick, Natalie, who is going to be the one to sit in the car and do all the hours with
Me.
River?
Me.
Why? Do you think you'll handle it more calmly?
I just
Do you think
feel
she's a
like
better driver?
I do think I'm a better driver. And I feel like we learned that with your whole What story was that? Running out of gas story.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has to do with what Robert feels, but
You
Well, you
check
also
the
failed
lights.
your adult test a few times. You just admitted to that. So
And you failed your first
you try to
test.
pass that test.
I did.
I do still have a Georgia driver's
It's just
license.
not
I'm 16 because I'm
it's just,
scared.
it's not going my way. All right, well, coming up shortly, Robyn from Traitors, who was one of the two that was voted off. We are excited to talk to her. But first, for all of you, and we'll spend a brief amount of time on it, because it has gotten real toxic out there. Guys, we are very much obviously in the minority when it comes to the Blake and Justin
Oh, I'm
saga.
getting threats in my DMs. I'm
that's
getting,
so fucked
you better
up.
stop talking about Justin or else type of DMs.
Yeah, which is crazy. Colleen Hoover had to deactivate her Instagram.
I'm
She's
next.
being harassed and bullied so much. A friend of show, like Liz Plank, Justin's former co-host, one of many people who has separated herself from Justin, also getting harassed and bullied online. But anyways, yeah, it's getting real toxic out there. Which I think we were, kind of surprised about, just because, like, obviously you guys know, you're aware of our opinion on the case, but like, if you are on the other side of things, it was just like shocking. People are literally sending Natalie threats, which is also interesting because no one's sending me those threats.
I'm sure they will now.
I mean, I see people like trying to like discredit our, because like one of the few shows out there like who are not Team Justin. Like a lot of like the army of Justin influences are like, definitely coming for us, which is always funny and fun. But I will say, I did talk to some people over the weekend, and I got a better understanding of where the Team Justin people are landing and why they're landing, and why there may be such vitriol if you are Team Justin. My friend went to a dinner party and overheard a group of women talking, and they were very much anti-Blake, right? They were making some wild comparisons. I think the general theme of this group of women, the why they thought about Blake, according to my friend, was they think she's lying. They think she's making this story all up, which I do think that's the one thing all of us can agree on, that if Blake is just falsely accusing this man and making up stories, that would be like one of the worst things someone can do, given like just the damage of what it does to real victims out there. And then I got a phone call from a friend whose opinion I really respect and trust. It was a work colleague, an acquaintance, haven't heard from them in a while, but do very much trust their opinion. And they were not Team Blake. I will say the people I did talk to, though, however, acknowledge that most of the information she is getting or forming her opinion around is just watching clips online. She's like, yeah, I didn't listen to your show. I'm like, that's fine. So it is a bunch of online.
Did she read the complaints and the lawsuits and stuff, or is she just
unclear? I think she's reading like a lot of people, because there's a lot of creators covering it and they're posting clips of the complaint.
Right.
So I don't think she sat down and read all the complaints, which I have done. But I think her big takeaway is she said she was in Blake's camp at first, and then when this video came out, that like kind of changed her opinion, in a sense that like apparently after watching this video and reading Blake's complaint, it was like Blake's complaint didn't match the video. I'm not going to get into that. There's a lot of different opinions out there right now, but that was just her opinion. So yeah, I think she just kind of thinks she's being a Karen. And then like she also referenced how like recently Blake's team like referred to Justin as an abuser. And she was just like, none of these complaints, like she's like, it doesn't say abuser to me. And my response to her was, well, listen, like, and I would say this to anyone who's been on Justin's camp. I was like, if you got hired at a job for, let's say, a 3-month engagement to consult on a job, and the boss of that job is someone that you were going to be working with every day, and the reputation of this person that you were working with every day was like, they were a saint. And then 2 weeks into it, all of a sudden they started like giving you the ick here or there. They started making you feel uncomfortable. Then one day they called your friend behind your back, elicited some personal information, just a bunch of little things that were just like, I don't want to go to work anymore. I'm uncomfortable. And then you finally complained. Turns out they were also HR, but you finally complained. And then you found out, and again, this is just my interpretation of the events. I don't want to get into what people disagree with. You finally complained, and then you found out that person hired people to bully you and your family and harass your other coworkers about you online and really make your life miserable. Like, wouldn't you think that person is an abuser? And they were like, yeah, I guess I kind of. That's just kind of how I see it. But the reason why my opinion is what it is strongly based off of the fact that I interviewed Justin a long time ago, read his books, consumed his content. And I just personally think that if you're going to make your whole platform through the books you write, the podcasts you do, the TED Talks you do, you are the voice for women to hear their sorrows and their pains and champion them and lecture men. And literally his message is, hey guys, are you man enough to believe women's stories? That is Justin's literal message. If you're going to do that, ultimately in my mind, you're selling safety. You are selling I am safe to a group of vulnerable people. And that vulnerable group is any woman who's ever had a bad experience with a bad actor who's a man. And so when you are selling that you are safe, you're literally saying, you can put your guard down around me. And it's just a lot easier to protect yourself when you see something coming versus when you don't see it coming. And I said to my friend, like, if I went to go see my priest for like counsel, and then out of nowhere, my priest started talking to me about porn they liked, I would probably feel way more uncomfortable than if like my kind of gross friend did it, right? And he put that responsibility on himself. So in my mind, if you're going to do that, you better walk the walk. And my standards for people like that are so high. And that's why I have such a strong opinion, because I just think it's highly unlikely that he walked the walk that he did. Like, she's accusing him of sexual harassment, not sexual assault. I think he did a bunch of weird, creepy little things. And I think she told on him because she wanted to get back to work. And I think he's hired a bunch of people who have created a lot of discourse and influence. But anyways, that's our opinion. I don't know why it's gotten so toxic, but I think we're trying to back off it a little bit so people can stop threatening my wife. But we'll see how things play out. I think it's going to be like, Mary made this joke, like it's going to be like that Britney Spears doc. As time passes, like people are going to watch it and be like, oh, we should have known.
Be like, in 10 years, they're going to be like a bunch of Twitter threads being like, Blake Lively was always the victim and you guys just like didn't know. Like you see it with Amber Heard. It's just like such bullshit.
Well,
it's like maybe we could just believe a woman.
I think Justin and Blake want to go to court. That's my prediction. I think Justin's New York Times case is going to get thrown out. And a lot of legal people I've talked to, I think him and his team are going to end up owing the New York Times money. And I wouldn't be shocked if his lawsuit against Blake and Ryan also gets thrown out. And I think Blake's going to win. And I think when that happens, it'll be interesting to see all the alleged witnesses, according to Blake's complaint, what they say and the other details that we really don't know about. And I guess we'll see. And then maybe you guys can tell us we were totally wrong or not. Up next, we got Robyn from Traitors. It can be so hard to stay focused when you have millions of tabs open, going back and forth from emails to documents. You can lose so much time switching between different tasks when your time and expertise are so valuable, and that's where Grammarly comes in. Grammarly comes in super handy here at the Viall Files. We use it here because I'd rather have my team spend more time on what they're actually good at and less time rereading all their emails to make sure they sound smart. Let the good people at Grammarly proofread your emails and your documents. Make sure that you're sending emails with the proper tone so that your team can actually do the things that you hire them for.
Grammarly helps with any writing, from brainstorming to sounding more confident and persuasive at work. 90% of professionals say Grammarly has saved them time writing and editing their work, and 4 out of 5 professionals say Grammarly helps them gain buy-in and action through their communication.
Speed through the drafting and editing process while staying on track. Write and edit quickly with context-aware suggestions everywhere you write. Grammarly works across more than 500,000 apps and websites. 93% of professionals report that Grammarly helps them get more work done. For 15 years, Grammarly has helped professionals do more with writing. Your data is secure and never sold, which is super important. Get more done with Grammarly. Download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That's grammarly.com/podcast. This episode is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first baked from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas.
Everyone's on their sourdough, making sourdough from scratch cake. That takes way too much time. Just get it from Wild Grain. Wild Grain boxes are fully customizable to your taste and dietary restrictions. In addition to their classic variety box, they recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. Best of all, they take the hassle out of baking, since all items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or no cleanup.
We absolutely love the convenience of not only having fresh bread delivered to our home, but being able to throw an everything sourdough loaf in the oven, and it's ready in 25 minutes. It's right when I'm making dinner. I'll just pop it in the oven, and bam, we have some wonderful, fresh tasting bread to pair well with our dinner. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? Be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your own box of artisanal bread, pastries, and pastas. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off the first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/VIALL to start your subscription. You heard it from me, free croissants in every box, and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/VIALL. That's wildgrain.com/VIALL. Or you can use promo code VIALL at checkout. Robyn.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great. How are you?
We're doing great. We're sad that you're not on Traitors anymore.
I'm sad too. I had unfinished business.
All right, well, let's start there. What was the business that you wanted to do before you got sent home?
After that roundtable, I was thinking, I gave it some thought, and I instantly was like, okay, Boston Rob is a traitor. just based on drag queen's response to him. He had such like a visceral, angry reaction to him calling him a traitor. I just knew, I was like, okay, this is a different response than Dilling accusing Bob the drag queen of being a traitor. So I was convinced that Boston Rob was a traitor and I was going to get him the next day. So I was so upset when they murdered me and when I found out they didn't banish Boston Rob that night.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a good take, but I do, and I said this with Wells, I feel like the people you throw out at the round table, I mean, clearly none of them were traitors, but it was like, what? She thinks they are? What? What were you kind of going off of?
Well, I'm not the only one that was wrong on people.
No. I know. There's a lot of people that are wrong. I'm not coming after you.
I'm not the only one. I was just probably vocal because I'm just like, I'm not here to just like be one of those people who just kind of sits here quiet and tries to sneak by. I just wanted to, I came there to make a television show and I just wanted to make a television show. And so for me, it wouldn't have felt right if I was sitting there just like being quiet and not saying anything. And you've got to like think about what it's like to be in our shoes. Like I've been a viewer. I love the show as a viewer, but when you already know who those 3 or 4 traitors are, you're just honing in on their behaviors, where we're in a room with 20 other people who we really don't know. And so we're evaluating every little thing that they do. So we don't have the luxury of just paying attention to a handful of people. We are watching everyone. We're saying, okay, well, let me see if something, weird is happening, if there's a shift in energy. I mean, I even, after Alan picked his traitors, I thought Sierra was a traitor because she went in the kitchen and grabbed a bowl of grapes and started eating them. And I was like, oh, she's trying to deflect. Like she's trying,
she's eating.
She's trying to just be distracted from the fact that she just got picked to be a traitor. So you're really looking at every little thing that people are doing. With Wells, it was like, I don't think they showed it, but like when we had our little conversation in the billiards room, he got up and walked out of the room. And I was like, oh, okay, like he's in the hot seat and he wants to just avoid this conversation. So I was the only one, but I was right on Boston Rob. I wish I had had the opportunity to really convince people that
it makes a lot of sense why early on, and I think Wells was saying this, or I think a lot of the faithful were talking about how they wanted this season to be the season where you guys like found out a traitor right away. But just hearing Robyn, like hearing how you and the rest of your cast kind of came up with their theories, many of which were wrong. It speaks to like when you're looking for something, like you just kind of overread every little thing. And like the traitors usually are the one who are more calm, more reserved, because they're operating with a little bit more like just confidence, so that when all the faithfuls get accused of something, I think you look inherently guilty because you're like, oh, I'm not
Right.
Do you feel like that's why Danielle is kind of, no one's really suspecting her, is because she has these like crying moments and she...
Absolutely. I mean, Danielle from the jump, and of course you all don't see everything, but every little thing that Danielle did was filled with some sort of emotion or like, anxiety. Even at the round tables, I remember that first round table when it was between me and Wells. And, you look around as people are like making their picks or whatever. Like I made my pick early. It was Wells. Boom. I put my thing down. And so, I'm looking around and Danielle's sitting there. She's just like deliberating. And she's like, oh, God.
Performing.
Oh, God. Like she's so stressed. Like she's just filled with angst over this decision that she had to make and this pick she had to make. And I saw that. And so for me, I'm like, she's not on my radar because she's totally just stressed over this pick. So it's like, you really, I made this mistake, and probably a lot of people make the mistake, is you put yourselves in the shoes of a traitor. You say, well, if I was a traitor, how would I act? And for me, if I was a traitor, I would be really low key. I wouldn't be bringing attention to myself. I wouldn't be, going from person to person and talking so much like Drag Queen was doing. And so seeing Danielle be so just emotional and she would be kind of like a little bit all over the place and have a lot to say, she never was on my radar. So this game, I mean, I think, you just never know. Like, you just have to throw something at the wall and see what sticks at that point, that early in the game.
Were you as shocked as we were to see Nikki go home? Because especially after her like performance with like 2 times in a row, she like refused to save herself, and then also crying again. Like I'm just trying to figure out, like, before you left, were people floating Nikki's name around? It seemed like it came out of nowhere, and it wasn't even close. It was like unanimous that she got picked.
So before Nikki was put into the caskets, people were floating her name around.
Oh, the caskets. You know what Boston Rob's called it? He said, like, we're going to get a 2 for 1 because we'll kill one and people are going to still think probably someone is a traitor in the casket. Boy, that Boston Rob.
So that's kind of, and they were aware of that. So I think it was Nikki and Jeremy whose names were being floated around as traitors. So when they went in the caskets, a lot of our, like, antennas went off. We're like, wait a minute. We were just saying that we think Nikki and Jeremy are traitors. And we had seen Nikki and Jeremy kind of like talking on their own. And so it was just all these little like red flags were around Nikki and Jeremy. And so
but we knew Jeremy wasn't, though, because he got killed.
Right. So then the thought was, when Jeremy was killed, we're like, well, then Nikki must be a traitor. Like, that was
because Jeremy was onto her or something.
What was your reaction to seeing Danielle turn on Carolyn?
It's a mess.
Crazy.
I don't know what happens, but I felt like, first of all, I thought Boston Rob messed up by doing what he did to Drag Queen that early in the game. Because we can see it just creates a snowball effect of distrust amongst the traitors. And so now what Danielle did, that was just like insane. She should have known that, and maybe she did it on purpose. She should have known that Dylan was going to go back to Carolyn and tell her that she was floating her name about. I thought that was not good strategy. She should have really laid low. It was too early for them to start trying to frame each other, way too early. So I'm curious to see, like, where does this go?
This season, the housewives have had a target on their back. Do you think that it's based off of the previous season, like Phaedra being such a good traitor, that they think that that you guys are so unsuspecting? And like, was the vibe, like, did you feel that they were targeting you in the house?
Yeah, for sure. I felt like people came in just based and were trying to like recreate what happened the season before, or they were just basing their biases based on what they saw the season before. And so they saw Phaedra be a traitor. They saw Sheree last a really long time in the house. And so I think they just assumed, oh, a housewife has to be a traitor.
Right.
And then on the flip side, the traitors knew that would be the thought process of everyone, and it would be easy to frame the housewives. But what I loved about it was that this season is completely different than last season. Like, what we're seeing, we haven't seen anything really like it before. And I think that's what now people coming into the game in the future should keep in mind. Like, you can't base anything that happens in your current season on what you saw the previous season, because they got to keep it fresh. But they definitely had their eyes on the housewives. We had targets on our backs. And it was kind of unfair, though, because they would say like, oh, you guys have numbers and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but the gamers have numbers.
So
Survivor has numbers.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else has numbers. Why are you worried about us?
That's what kind of shocking. If you're going to target any group for no reason other than the fact that they're a group, target the gamers. Because they're going to be good. And you have to assume that one of the gamers is a traitor.
I mean, you have Survivor, Big Brother, Challenge.
I feel like that would be at the round table my only argument of like, if you don't have anyone so early on, it's like you've got nothing to, it's like, well, let's go for Wes because you're a gamer. And like, it's got to be, for some reason, maybe yes, maybe no, but like might as well try to take out a gamer
at least
first.
Get the gamers fighting with each other or something.
Well, we took, I mean, so Tony, so think about it. Tony from Survivor, we banished him because
that's true,
he was a great Survivor player. And, it's just certain things Tony would say around the house that were like, So we were, we took out Tony, they took out Jeremy. So we started to take out the gamers, but they were just stuck on this housewife thing. But when I watched them murder me, I was like, okay, that was like anticlimactic. Like, what was the reason? It was just like, Okay, let's just pick Robyn. Like what? Like, can I get a reason for it?
So do you like
Nothing.
basically like wake up and a producer walks in and being like, "You're dead"?
No, that's not how it works. So we actually all wake up and get dressed as if we're going to breakfast. And because we do confessionals throughout the day, you can be asked to do a confessional before breakfast. That doesn't necessarily mean you were murdered. But if they ask you to do a confessional before
See the
breakfast,
letter.
that's when you get murdered for sure.
Okay.
So,
all
so
right.
we are like, we're ready for the day. I was ready to get Boston Rob. I was like ready to start.
No.
Did you also think like Ion, where she thought the Survivor cast were
Surviving
survivors
from
of
disease.
diseases of some kind or an ailment? God
No.
bless her.
So although I didn't, the only survivor I knew was Boston Rob. I knew that Survivors was a television show.
Okay.
I wish there were
Like
clips
he
of
didn't,
her
he
being
didn't battle
like,
Lyme disease.
yeah.
She's so funny. I was so mad they murder her just because she's so funny. Like
Yeah. No, I don't know what they were thinking.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like producers could have stepped in there and been like, well, let's find someone
Hey
else.
guys, do you think we would have picked her as a traitor?
Diane is a traitor.
That would be crazy.
I mean, you know what? That would have been comedy. It would have been
Like
really,
Dorinda and Ion, if they were actual traitors?
Yeah.
It would have been comedy. But I was definitely like, can a producer step in and stop and tell them to stop killing housewives? Like, come on, you need us on the show.
You want
But
good TV. Keep
Yeah.
the housewives on.
Robyn, give me 3 housewives from any franchise that you want to see next season.
I would love to see like Erica Girardi.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah.
These are people like we'll never do it because like
Why would
you
Erica
know,
never do it?
can't have our phones and Erica Girardi, Nene Leakes would be fun.
Nene would be so
Ooh.
good.
And let's put Ramona in there.
Okay.
Love.
I
All
think
right.
that would
Love.
be
That's good.
pretty exciting.
Any more questions for Robyn before we let her? Oh, Sierra's got her one.
I do. Going into the roundtables, like, what was your strategy for how you decided who you were going to vote out? Like, were you corroborating with specific people, trying to see how they were going to vote, or were you doing it just like individualistically?
Well, because it was like so many people, it was, you know, in order, like, I didn't really have an agenda to push. Like for me, like say for, I had Wells and I had Tony just on my mind. They were like really the only ones, but I wasn't trying to like vote somebody out, you know, because it was that early, it was like, let's see what the rest of the group has to say. Let's see if they have anyone to put out there. And since people didn't really have a lot to put out there, it's like, okay, well, let's go for the ones that are in my head. So no, at that point there was no like strategizing with the roundtables. It's just so early, so many people. You just want to see what everyone else is thinking.
What color are your eyes? They're the most insane things I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. They're green.
Oh, they're so pretty. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Well, I would love to cover Potomac at some point, so maybe we will
We hear
start.
it's great. Yeah.
Please come back.
Well, yeah, I'm like, I'm not on Potomac anymore. But yeah, so
what you
still-
maybe as a friend of? Are you done? You're forever gone?
I mean, I don't know. The
I'm sure you
networks-
have opinions on what's going on, and we can get you on here to just talk some shit about your previous castmate.
I mean, I have a lot of opinions.
I believe it.
Yeah, a lot of opinions.
All right,
believe it.
Robyn. Thank you for your time. It's been super fun watching you on Traitors, and hopefully we'll hear some of those opinions on Potomac some other
Yeah.
day.
Thank you. It's
All
been a
right.
pleasure.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
But my one thing too that I wonder, where I'm like, I understand like while you're in it and it's so many people, but like for me, just even taking a step back, I'm like, why was Boston Rob offered to come in already, and then we have a second offering of him back in the game? Like to me, I would already immediately want to have him out, because I'm like, why are we pushing so hard to have this man on the show?
True.
I mean, he's shockingly flying under the radar for a man who everyone's like, yeah, boy, he would be really, really bad if he was a traitor.
Right? You didn't want him in the
No.
first round.
They all know that he's a traitor, but for some reason they're too scared to make a move and to get him out.
Yeah.
He's just too good of
Like
a game
Derek
player.
knows that he's a traitor. Like they all are saying.
Well,
like,
that's the
Boston
thing, though.
Rob is
It's
a
just
traitor.
like he's surviving now. It's still fairly early. Like, Rob's not going to win.
No.
Up next, the exile that I think shocked everyone. At least it shocked me. I think Robyn gave it some context about I forgot about the casket element, but I was still blown away, more specifically because Chrishell had a vibe. But anyways, we'll get to hear from the faithful herself. Nikki Garcia is up next.
Look at our Bambi.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Nikki.
Nikki, what the fuck? Why were you sabotaged?
I was. I'm never joining an alliance again. No, I'm just kidding. I'm all about alliances.
Have you confronted Chrishell yet?
We actually, I'm trying to say this without whenever Chrishell came home, so that could be all the way at the finish end, who knows? But when she was able to have her phone, I was her first phone call. And she honestly is the sweetest thing.
No, we love Chrishell, but like vibes?
Energy.
Energy? Huh?
Yeah. I know. I was shocked. And I knew at the point, the minute, because that was towards the end of just going at it with everyone. And then I knew that my fate was sealed. That was death for me.
We talked to Robyn earlier, and her theory, because obviously she wasn't there when you actually got voted off, but she made it seem like the target was very much on your back as a result of the whole coffin situation a few episodes back. Is that what you attribute it to?
Totally. Because for our challenge earlier that day, Rob made it a point to join our car. So it was us Bambis, and then he came in, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. He really wanted to go with us. And I legit did not think he was a traitor, only because I swear it's in our handbook. Traitors aren't allowed to out traitors. That's a rule. So when the whole situation with him and Bob went down, and how you guys should see that raw footage, it was insane. I'm thinking when everyone had those theories, I'm like, yeah, that's smart because it was super heated, but you can't do that. You can't out a traitor. If you're a traitor.
Can you give us a little tea of some of the insane things we didn't get to see?
I mean, just how they were going at it. It was so heated, and it went for 15 minutes. And I can't even remember the stuff they're saying, but it was just I thought they were about to physically fight. It was pretty nuts.
Wow.
I know. It was really intense, and I was in shock. And it's funny because I got really close with Bob, and when you start this whole journey, you share a van with with a few people before you, we do stuff for 3 days before even actually starting the day. So it was Gabby, Bob, Tony, and I, the whole time. So we all four got really, really close. You get close with who's ever in your van. And Bob, to me, is one of the funniest people. I loved him. Off camera, made all of us cry, laugh, just super funny. And so he played me great. I had no idea that he was a traitor. I totally was manipulated and brainwashed, and no way. So when my reaction was real. I don't know why people thought I should have thrown a chair in the air, flipped the table, made some big dramatic, oh my gosh, Bob's a traitor. I was actually shocked. And I was kind of shocked that was a target on my back of how I reacted.
It is crazy to see how people come up with their theories, which we've come to learn is almost based off of nothing. In Chrishell's case, it was based off of
her being an empath.
Her being an empath.
I felt for her. She was crying.
It was really sad.
She really didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but it's just Chrishell, if all you got is vibes, just don't vote for your friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, I get it. It's a game. It's traitors. If you got some hard facts, be like, hey, girl, I saw you say you were a traitor. I gotta call you out. But
or at least she could have, I feel come to you and been like, hey, your reaction in the car set off some red flags with me.
Yeah, did she ever do that? Did the first time you got accused by Chrishell, was that at the round table?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was super shocked. I was like, wait, what?
All right, in the moment though, I know you guys are fine and we all love Chrishell. She's super nice, but how pissed were you?
I actually, what kind of was crazy, I was more sad and emotional. Okay, so I've been a sports girl my whole life. Soccer, then wrestling. All I've ever known is a sisterhood. I'm an identical twin. So an alliance for me, and being in a girls group, that makes sense for me. That's how I roll. That's how I work well with. So when that happened, I was actually just taken back, and it made me emotional, which I was like, oh my gosh, why am I so emotional about this? But it actually like hurt me. Like I felt, I guess, betrayed. And
Because you
so
were.
then I was like, I don't want to cry. Like, can we just like wait a sec? Because I hate showing emotions that way. But I was more mad at the others for accusing my personality. That fired me up. Like when Wes and I went at it the night before, the week before, my blood was boiling like as if I was in a bar fight in college. Like I just hadn't had that feeling in so long. And I think when people were coming at me expecting me to be a WWE wrestler and like be this big heel from 2017, I'm like, what? I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And then the night after, then to get attacked, like, you're just too cool and calm. And I was like, what? Like that stuff pissed me off. In my head after that argument, I was like, I think I just want to go home. And then when Chriselle spoke up, I was like, I'm not even argue anymore. I'm so done and over this. Night 2 of defending myself for stupid shit. And I was like, done.
Yeah, I can imagine, because obviously, you know, a lot of people get casted on the show, like have a pretty long history of being on reality TV or in your case, you know, WWE, and they come with a history. They come with a reputation of some kind. And you're right, like 2017, it must be super annoying to have like people like tell you about you from something they saw on TV from 8 years ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, big time. Like Tom the whole time had to like remind all of us, like he wouldn't let them make him be a traitor because of his past. And it was like, dude, what are you even talking about? It's just, I guess I went in there like just playing the game of whatever people are going to play the game with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about people's characters or who they were years ago. So it's super annoying, especially because when your fictional character is getting brought up, like it's not even like, oh, so you were like this on Total Divas and Total Bellas. It was straight up like when you were heel with a written script, like how you would scream at people, this is how she must be, and she's hiding it, you know?
Did you practice, or was your speech kind of off the cuff? I feel like it was so good. It hit the nail. I mean, just being like, maybe y'all shouldn't come after people's personality, you know, if you don't know them. And then you're like, I'm ready to get home to my kid.
Yeah, thank you. No, that was like just off the cusp. Because what was crazy about that day, I had no idea everyone was talking behind my back. Like I had no idea.
No one came to you?
It was already a struggle for me because that was, as you girls would know, it was day 2 of my period, and my period was insanely bad. Like during the game, you can't even see the producer to my left.
Maybe that's what Chriselle picked up on.
Yeah, a little PMS. Yeah.
My sister that I go, Brie goes, so maybe your energy was up. I go, well, yeah, but they knew. Like I laid in bed that day. Like I was cramping hard. And I did miss my son. But like, you know, it was like whatever. And Rob like was just there all the time. And I was like, dude, I can't, this is just a lot today. This should have been an off day. But so maybe that was the energy. Maybe that's what it was.
Understandable.
I was on my period.
Yeah.
But it was literally right before we were going in. Well, before they make us be quiet, before we go in, is when someone told me, I can't remember who, but it was like, they're coming after you in this roundtable. And I was like, wait, why? Wait, I'm so, didn't we just like end this the past week, which was actually the night before? And so I was fully blindsided, like had no time to prep, had no time to change people's minds before. So the out was just what I felt.
I'm curious because Wells had mentioned that some of the, I don't know if they're all like an hour and a half, but they're clearly much longer than we get to see. Was the whole time spent at the round table like people like telling you why you're a traitor, or was there anyone else like brought up in that conversation that we didn't get to see?
I think that night was just me.
Okay.
Wow.
Fully just me.
At least you got Dylan. He was your hero, even though it didn't save you or anything. But like he seems to be playing this really well, because like for him to be right about you, like everyone else was voting against you, and he wanted to take a stand to say like the group isn't thinking right. I really don't think you and Sierra aren't traitors. He ended up being right about that. And it's just like, I really think that gives very faithful vibes, because I think when you see like what's clear at Traitors, right? Like it's to your advantage to go with the group, right? If someone's name's getting thrown out there, you might as well vote them off, because at least it's not you. And Dylan had the balls to say, you know what, I'm not going to vote for Nikki or Sierra, because I just don't think it's them. And it's almost it's like he wanted to speak to the faithfuls out there. And I think every time he does something like that and he gets it right, it makes him look more faithful. And I think it protects him against the traitors, because if he goes out, then it's almost like, oh, you know, it puts a scent on the traitors. I don't know. How do you see Dylan doing, or, you know, is he doing as well as I think he is?
No, totally. Dylan was such a stud the whole time. And like, I connected really well with him off the bat. Super cool guy, super smart, and he plays the game really well. And I think that's what bothered him, because like obviously you don't get to see everything. So I was really on to Danielle, and just watching other seasons, because I was actually a fan of the show before the offer came in. When you're so convinced someone's a traitor, it's like you almost don't want to point them out yet till you get other people on board, because they're just going to murder you that night. So like what happened to Jeremy our season. So Dylan and I would have really great conversations. And I think, I mean, I feel like he reminds me of Peter from last season, but he's just really great. And he has balls too, which I like. Like he's really great at this game. And I see this season, watching it now I get why it felt like chaotic when we were there, because I feel like the traitors are so messy. Usually traitors go in and they're all like, they have a plan, right?
Mhm.
Now I know why it was so chaotic before we'd go into those round tables. Like you would literally be like, okay, I have my person I'm going to put. And then literally 10 minutes before, everyone's running around saying this or that. And you're like, wait, what? And then you get in your head. And I feel like it's kind of shown this season, and why everyone votes for the same person, because they are like, have their person before they go in, and then they get rocked a bit. So then everyone follows each other except Dylan. Dylan sticks to what he wants. But like, everyone else. That's why when you see, I feel like every round table, it's like, okay, everyone's voting for who? Like, where are we going? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean. And it seems like that's definitely what's going on. Are there any like people we're overlooking that you think are playing the game really well, or you feel like will continue to pop as the season moves along?
Yeah, I think Gabby, she just needs to start speaking up. But I think Gabby is doing a great job. Like it's like she just needs to trust her gut and her instincts, because it's there for her. And so I think she'll start to shine. I'm curious to see how she's next week with me being gone, because we were so buddy, even more so than Chriselle. Like Gabby and I were together all the time. Like we couldn't wait to get our glass of wine at the end of the night, because we only get one. And like we just hung out the whole time.
But you only got one glass of wine a day?
Yeah. And there was like some nights where it was just too late, and Gabby and I are like, wait, no, but like you all promised to get lots of wine. So please, after our day to day.
Like not even two?
No. And those days are like 12 hours, sometimes longer. When you get stuck in a coffin, it's insane.
Yeah, how long were you in that coffin for?
It had to be almost 2 hours.
Oh my God.
So we
Like
get in
with
the
no
coffin.
break, no like, hey, feeling a little claustrophobic.
And it's freezing. So you have to wait for everyone to go, like leave. Then you have to wait for the traitors to make their decision, then the traitors to come kill, and then for the traitors to leave till we were allowed out of our coffin. And then they let Sierra and I out, and Jeremy was still in there. And I was so upset about it, because, well, Jeremy and I clicked, and he, like, little did we know we were talking too much in front of Bob, who was a traitor. But yeah, so he had to be there for a really long time. It was a rough night.
What if you had to pee?
Couldn't, because you couldn't see anyone. Like, and then not only that, then you go to green screens after. So you're hitting up your green screens at like 1 a.m. Like, just, it was rough.
Oh my
The whole
God.
thing was rough. And I'm so not a gamer. I loved the experience, but I was like, I came home and I told Brie, and I go, yeah, I'm not a gamer at all. It's not fit for me or my personality.
Do you think Boston Rob's going home soon? Do you think they're onto him?
I think he's becoming too obvious. Honestly, I feel like all the traitors are so obvious. I wish I have it in my book. every night I would write down Carolyn and Danielle. I'm so mad at myself, like, for not just on my out when I was leaving, I want to be like, oh, and everyone look at these two because it's so obvious. I caught them talking all the time by themselves, like in a way that didn't seem like when you would walk in on like Gabby, Chriselle, and I just laughing and like having fun. Like there seemed like they were scheming.
Sure.
And now I think after the Bob thing, people were a little like, And then I feel like now he's just getting a little too obvious.
And there's definitely no unity with the Traitors, like at all.
I mean, at all. Like it's crazy. I think it's what's made it so confusing for the faithfuls because usually the Traitors, like they're just, they're a group. They're their own alliance.
What'll be interesting, and I don't know if they're going to do it, but like last season, they brought in a housewife who became a traitor, and then they had an opportunity to recruit a traitor. I'm really curious, like who's going to be recruited, whether they say yes or not. Is this, will they be bringing in more people? They have to do something with the Traitors because it seems like a weak group of Traitors. I mean, like Boston Rob's very good, but he's had to almost do too much. And like you said, it's kind of shined too much of a light on themselves. And the other two are just.
But even piggybacking off of that, where I'm like, how do you think that Danielle is sliding under the radar so much? Because I feel like she was so obvious during that last challenge.
Yeah, I don't know. Because this is what's weird. Everyone was talking about it. Like, even from the day of us being on the boats, like people were like I just remember saying like that crying didn't seem real, but then a lot of people were hooked that Dorinda was a traitor. So I think it made people forget, and then Dorinda got murdered. But I would hear people talk about Danielle like almost every day, and for some reason, so maybe I don't know if this makes them great, it would get so chaotic the 10 minutes before that people would be going in fighting, like Sierra and I. It just got pinned on us, so then we'd argue, and everyone kept like forgetting about her, like. Even after when she gave her shield up.
Yeah.
Just more people being like, oh my gosh, Danielle. And then I'm like, but how has no one brought her up? Like,
I don't think she's been named once at the round table.
No.
Or like if she has, it's been like one person.
Yeah, it makes us all look like idiots.
The only thing that makes sense, and you said this, Nikki, like for example, if Dylan thought Danielle was a traitor, I don't think he actually even thinks Gabby's a traitor. I think he said Gabby is like a throwaway because he didn't want to say Nikki and Sierra. But if he were to say Danielle, like if Dylan suspected Danielle, he's not going to say Danielle just to like make a point because then all of a sudden there's a target on his back. It's like Nikki said, it's like if you're going to go after someone you really think is a traitor, you have to have the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They keep saying that. Like if you're going to go after someone this big, you really got to take them down because like otherwise you're kind of fucked. So maybe they kind of suspect and they're just kind of,
She was just so obvious. Like literally did not grab her photo once for the shield. And it's just like.
She was shaking after.
Yeah. You're not afraid to get murdered. And then she's like, oh shit.
Honestly. And like, I love how Dolores was like, ew, this is getting like, don't.
She was like, don't save me.
I love the housewives. I was so sad when they kept getting murdered because I'm like, no, you guys, I'm getting like front row entertainment, please.
Yes.
It's like, and again, this is not meant to, like, I just don't think, I mean, maybe because Phaedra was, and obviously Phaedra was like an assassin. Like Phaedra she was a dirty traitor. She was in the best possible way. But yeah, I don't know. Like, again, Ion, what, really? Dorinda? Come on. Like, we're not thinking with our heads here.
No.
Like, it didn't make any sense.
I just feel like maybe since the US version is, celebrity TV personalities, whatever season, maybe it does need to be a bit more produced. I feel bad saying that because they don't produce at all. They don't have any interference, which is really cool. But then it's like there's some characters you want to stick around. So I don't know. I mean, that would ruin the game, but.
Nikki, always great chatting with you. So sorry you got voted off. We think you got the shaft, but glad you got to get back to your beautiful baby, and rooting for you. And anything you want to plug?
Well, goodness, I mean, I have my show, the Nikki and Bree Show. That's on Sirius XM, and I think that's it.
Do you think Bree will do Traitors?
Okay, so she was supposed to do season 2, and she said no because she was like, "If they bury me alive, I don't think so." And I'm like, "Girl, you." Out. But after like seeing the few roundtables, even though Brie would eat people alive. Like, see, I'm always the calm and cool one, but when you like go at it with Brie knows how to run her mouth. Like, she's amazing at it.
So jump from the top rope.
No, right? So even like the Bella army has totally been going crazy on social and saying like Brie should have tagged in and like took care of shit. She would have. But I'm like, Brie, you should really do it next season. But she's like, no, she feels like the gaming stuff isn't for her. Like when she heard my story, she's like, yeah, I just don't think so.
I think she'd be good. Nikki, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
Bye,
talk
you
later.
guys.
All right, bye-bye.
With the seasons changing, we're already dreaming of a warm weather getaway. I know I am. I've been talking to Nick about it nonstop. We love using points for travel, and we're always looking for ways to earn more to book the next flight. Here's a life hack for you. Built lets you earn points on rent payments and redeem them towards flights, hotels, and a lot more. One of your biggest investments should get you more than just a roof over your head. Now let us explain.
There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels, airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not start earning points on rent you're already paying for by going to joinbuilt.com/VIALL. That is joinbilt.com/VIALL. Make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you, joinbuilt.com/VIALL, to start earning points with your rent payments today.
There is nothing worse than waking up on an important day or a day you look forward to or just any day, and there's a pimple on your face, an unexpected pimple, and finding... Hate that.
I hate it.
It's the worst. Or finding signs of aging, like wrinkles, fine lines forming around the eyes, dry skin in the winter. There's just nothing worse. Well,
feel confident in your skin, people, and you can do that with the good people from Apostrophe.
feeling confident in your skin starts with getting expert care. Whether you're dealing with acne, signs of aging, or dark spots, Apostrophe helps you access the right treatments for your skin. Apostrophe is an online platform that connects you with an expert dermatology team to get customized acne and dermatology treatment for your unique skin. Through Apostrophe, you can get access to oral and topical medications that use clinically proven ingredients to help clear acne. Simply fill out an online consultation about your skin goals and medical history, then snap a few selfies, and a dermatology provider will create a customized treatment plan just for you. It's so much easier than waiting weeks to get an appointment with your dermatologist. We have a special deal for our audience. Get your first visit for only $5 at apostrophe.com/VIALL when you use our code VIALL. That's a savings of $15. This code is only available for our listeners. To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/VIALL and click Get Started. Then use our code VIALL to sign up, and you'll get your first visit for only $5. Thank you, Apostrophe, for sponsoring this episode. All right, well, that does it for our Traitors conversation. It's really good, this show.
I'm enjoying it a
It gets
lot.
better and better. Like, you know, last season we really loved it, but we really, you know, look forward to it. Some of the shows we cover, it's more heavy lifting than others. You know, like RHONY, which I know some of you guys watched.
Did it live up to everyone's hype?
All I gotta say is we rebooted RHONY to just have another dark ending to a season. Like, it was just a very dark, heavy episode of stuff you think nobody would cross the line to do.
It's just upsetting.
I've seen clips, and it's something to do with Uba and Bren, and what happens? Do you want to, Sierra? You want to?
I can go at it, and then Sierra, you can fill in the dots if you want to.
Absolutely.
So basically, Uba kind of just made like a one-off conversation, and of the Smyrna van being like, well, maybe Bryn did sleep with someone to get her job.
There's tension at a dinner, right? And Bryn's kind of poking at Uba, and they're snapping back kind of, but just like not actual real conflict. As they're walking out to the Sprinter van and they get in, things are getting a little bit heightened. And then that's when Uba is like...
makes that comment. But then Bryn basically was like saying, you told me to put a dick in my mouth. You told me to put a dick in my mouth. So she keeps repeating that. And Uba's like, I never said that. Like, that's like, I'm sorry, but I never said that. Eventually the women start being like, Uba, don't...
It is a common like shit talking phrase people say.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean... she still never said it.
Like, suck a dick, maybe.
Yeah, that's
I mean, Uba still never said it. And then the women of the group started saying, like, stop, like, calling her a whore and, like, slut-shaming her. Then basically, Bryn brings half the group aside and alleges that Uba knew that Bryn was assaulted and that she's then still decided to slut shame her.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's using very strong words. She's not filtered. She's saying what happened. And now these women are like, why would Uba do this? Like, why would she do this? But they're not telling Uba. They stop rolling.
And you've got like all the women super emotional now, and like Jenna Lyons is crying, just being like, be nice to Bryn, because like this is the first time that some of these housewives are hearing about this
and
assault.
Aaron,
shit got real and
Yeah.
They were trying to protect Bryn.
Meanwhile, Aaron is like, guys, why are we crying? What happened? And the women are like, that's not our story to tell. Like, this is something very serious. Basically, they stop rolling that night. They're starting to take mics off. Jessel goes into Uba's room and she's like, hey, like, I just want to like check in with you. Like, Bryn told us that she told you were assaulted. Why would you be like saying these things to her? Uba knows nothing about this. So she basically is like, starts like freaking out. She's
like,
crying in the corner. She's like
guttural. Like,
guttural.
First, she's crying. She's like curled up in the corner. Like, why would she say this about me? Like, why would I don't remember this happening. Like, I would have never said this if I knew this. Then she turns into basically going out there and she's like talking to producers and like the group being like, you guys let her say this on camera? Like, she's starting this thing that did not happen. I swear this did not happen.
She goes into a room with Jenna and Raquel, and she's like beside herself, but we don't see it. The door's closed. And Raquel's retelling it, being like, no, like Uba's in Jenna's face, being like, you believe her? You believe that I would do something like this? And that she's, you know, from her faith and everything, she was like, may Allah strike me down and kill my firstborn if I did this. I did not do this.
And she's crying. She said, this is between God, me, and Bryn. And she's like, I did not do this.
These days?
Well, she hasn't had it yet. But my whole thing is that it's like she leaves the room and whatnot. She's upset and screaming. Continue.
So basically, she's out there. She's asking the woman. She's also asking Bryn, like, why would you say this? Producers, why would you let her say this on camera? All of the women are like, we don't know what's going on. Everybody's screaming. We don't want to invalidate Bryn. But at the same time, like, Uba looks like she's like so caught off guard.
Producers are involved.
I've seen those clips of Uba just losing,
Right.
losing her mind.
So
Uba
then
leaves.
they
She
take-
goes to a hotel with Jessel. And basically, I mean, this is me like kind of shortening it a little bit, but Bryn comes into the room later that night after multiple other conversations. And she's like, come to think of it, maybe Uba didn't clock that I said, like told her that I was like assaulted.
Yeah.
She's like, so maybe that did not happen. So then instantly all of the women are like, I don't want to invalidate you, but like, so you're telling me that you might be lying in this moment.
Yeah.
But to be clear, not lying about
The assault.
No.
but lying
That
about
Uba
Telling
knew.
Uba.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing was about the fact of all these women getting up against Uba and the fact that like you would say something knowing this piece of information and then for Bryn to wait till after cameras are down, everything, and be like, whoops, maybe she didn't clock it because I was hysterical when I was having this conversation with her, but very much laid down the fact that like Uba was the only person that she told this to. So that's why all the women are like, she would know this and say this still to you. So they're looking at Uba differently. And then after Bryn confesses that like there might be a shot that Uba didn't clock it, now they're looking at Bryn differently because they're like, how could you let this play out and not say anything and be so definitive that Uba knew? So Bryn leaves early, and it was also kind of bizarre because the next morning Bryn's completely fine about it, and she's sitting
Acts
with
like nothing happened.
she had texted producers asking to leave the next day, and then she's sitting with producers the next morning being like, yeah, you know, I'm just kind of like I move on, like we could go horseback riding today.
Yeah.
Which could be a form of coping. Jenna said that. So that makes sense.
And then production just shut it down. They were like, nope,
We're done.
everybody's going home after this.
Is there a reunion?
Yes.
Yes.
There is, but in between that, basically the women, they brought Uba back and they were like, we believe you, by the way. Like, we believe you didn't know. That being said, we think Bryn's going through a lot. They shoot the title cards like 4 days later.
Well, before that, even then, something about Uba's character, like, yes, English is her second language, so when she gets frustrated, it's for multiple reasons. But like just showing to Uba's integrity, like she still asked after the fact. She was like, I just want to make sure, like, is Bryn okay? So she was still, even after everything, just wanted to make sure that Bryn was okay after
And did
everything.
Bryn acknowledge or apologize? Because, like, I don't know, again, whatever Bryn went through, obviously some heavy shit.
Bryn did a Rolling Stone.
And before the Rolling
Article.
Stones,
But
she
she didn't apologize to Uba?
No.
the opposite of what she did was they shot title cards like 4 days later where they hold the apples up. And nobody really like addressed it. And like Uba wasn't talking to her. And Bryn's response was, why does nobody not care about me? Like, why is nobody checking in on me and asking me about that night after she was like, we're good? So it's a lot of back and forth. And then to Mary's point, she did a Rolling Stones article that released when the finale dropped that was like answering the
PR
questions
for
of-
Bryn.
Yeah.
Kind of like
In
doubling
a way.
down, but still not taking accountability, but claiming that she's good with 4 of the housewives and that she still has work to do with Sai, Uba, and Jessel, I believe. But it's like, Aaron commented on a reposting of this being like, saying that we're sisters is a reach. Like, I was hoping that Brynn would take accountability. She has a lot of childhood trauma that she needs to work through, but like pretty much saying the fact that you're not taking accountability, like, do not include me into your shit until you take accountability for it.
Yeah. And then I also think some context around Brynn spinning things throughout the entire season is that Brynn's previous employment was doing PR for companies such as Shell Oil, Johnson & Johnson, Unilever, and most popularly, quote, working on the BP Deepwater Horizon Gulf oil spill.
Okay. She operates in a dark world.
Yeah. Well, then another caveat is that, so when they did the first season of this reboot cast, there was another housewife that was filming, and she was like, they've done photos, they were teasing her to be one of them, and then she dropped out during filming. And nobody ever knew like what happened. They were just like, she just pulled herself from being part of the cast. She spoke out when this finale aired, and she was like, Brynn's the reason I didn't do it, because Brynn starts rumors that harm people's reputations intentionally.
And it's like complicated because obviously Brynn has a lot of trauma and had an awful thing happen to her. But then it's like, it's just this dark and messy and upsetting situation for a RHONY season that in the beginning was just boring and then finally gets dramatic, and it's in like...
Not even dramatic, toxic.
Toxic, awful.
In the darkest way.
I think I might watch Reunion Part 1 though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff being brought up. I guess Jessel confronts Brynn about a conversation where Brynn implied that Jessel is in love with somebody else that's not her husband, and it was said on camera.
Jenna tells Brynn to stop spinning and to just stop talking.
Like, it's gonna be eventful.
Jenna's wearing a luxury bathrobe to the reunion.
And a turban.
You know who's never going to do Housewives? Heidi Montag.
Yeah.
According to her husband, Spencer, which I don't blame her, because what I've learned covering Housewives, to operate in that world, you have to be okay with people just like saying the craziest fucking rumors about you and your family.
You have to think it's normal that people you're working with have personal investigators and teams and forensic scientists at their beck and call. That's something you might have done 10 years ago that you didn't think would ever come up, might.
Relationships with your jewelers.
Oh my God.
Wow,
we'll get into that in a second. But we do have Heidi and Spencer finally on Thursday's episode of Reality Recap. We'll get to talk to them about that comment about housewives and all the crazy things going on in their world. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know who wouldn't, but sadly their house is one of the many houses that burned down during the tragic fires. Obviously, they have been responding in the best possible way that they can. Heidi's now an international rock pop star, as she always has been, but she's finally getting the recognition that she deserves, and we'll be able to talk to that couple as they come together during this tragedy and create some beautiful music. That's Thursday.
Wrapping up headlines real fast, reality TV. So James Kennedy is not facing charges now. We know this. Ali Luber did post finally in response to the arrest.
Ali's response in an Instagram story, she writes, "Thank you for all your support and kindness. I am happy that prosecutors decided not to file against James, as I never desired criminal charges. We had an argument outside of his house related to him drinking again. However, I was not physically hurt. I was shocked by the headlines and disheartened by how the event was portrayed. We are no longer together, but I'll always support James and wish him the best with his sobriety and healing. Thank you for understanding."
And for anyone asking, this hasn't changed my opinion about Ike Kennedy, not one bit. My heart goes out to Ali. I hope she's okay. I hope she is living her best life. I think it's interesting in her statement that she pointed out that she wasn't hurt, and she made with no mention of the actual allegation that she was picked up and thrown against the room. She really just referenced that she didn't sustain any injuries from said alleged incident. But regardless of what happened there, ever since that arrest of James Kennedy, obviously we had talked about there had been kind of, stories here and little stories there that a lot of us didn't know much about, unless maybe you were like, part of that OG world for a long time. But since then, we have looked into it. We've had many conversations with our friend of show, Kristen Doty, and I will say I absolutely believe Kristen. 100%. She's been very vocal about her interactions with James. And so regardless of whatever happened with Ali, it hasn't been changed my opinion about James and the history he has with violence towards women. So I hope he gets sober. But again, I have yet to hear anything from James's mouth about the real problem, which is why he has a history of being physical and violent with women.
Salt Lake City Reunion.
All right, Salt Lake City Part 1.
From benchwarming bitch to first chair.
First of all,
yes, Angie.
Lisa's not a friend at all to anyone. I don't know how anyone calls Lisa a friend. Like Heather this season, Heather talks about how she's really investing in this friendship with Lisa. Lisa is a friend to nobody. Like Lisa might be a cool hang. She might hook you up. She might do you a favor if it benefits her in the long run. But like at the end of the day, being a friend is to at times, at some point in the relationship, to think outside of your own needs, to be selfless and just be there for someone who needs a friend. I've literally never seen that from Lisa Barlow ever. Like
it was crazy that she couldn't at all give any like, I fucked up, I'm sorry, with the whole Bronwyn, Gwen mentioning the miscarriage on the after show. It was like no part of her could see. And then Meredith being like, that's why she's crying is because it's like, no, I think she's crying because like no one is agreeing with her. You know, it's like.
Yeah, she's crying because she doesn't know what to say and she doesn't have one of her classic clapbacks to like get her out of the trouble that she's in. But like, yeah, what a terribly fucked up thing to insert yourself in.
It was so wild too, because it's like I've never watched somebody be able to find a way to turn themselves into the victim the entire time, where it was just like, well, how do you think I feel? Or I know them to be this. And it's like, again, you can have that experience, but you're not acknowledging who you claim to have been friends with. You're not acknowledging your friend's experience as to how you made her feel. And instead, it's always a counter back with, yeah, but I. And how do you think me being put in this position is? And it's just like, you inserted yourself into that position.
And then the whole conversation about a jeweler, we had a front row seat because we watched this episode with Natalie's mom. For those of you who don't know, Natalie's mom had an illustrious career working at a jewelry company and being a very successful sales person at a jewelry store.
I always knew she was a gem.
And
diamond in
and we're watching it. And Natalie's mom's in the background. And she's like, that's the most unprofessional jeweler. That she's like, that's the cardinal rule. You do not talk about your clients to other people. That's like the biggest no-no according to her. And then like Lisa's out there and like, I don't know, was it Whitney or all the other housewives were like, Lisa's claiming to like not really know this person, not really have a conversation with the person.
I mean, Emma.
My mom took this rule so far. I remember we'd be in the grocery store and she would see like one of her clients. Truly, she'd see one of her clients and she would like not say anything because it's like, oh, what if the woman they're with is their wife and they don't know that they just bought a necklace or a ring, or it's like they don't know that they're shopping in doors. Like you cannot approach anyone that you know because you don't know what's going on in their personal, you know, it was like she took it so serious. So the fact that like this, in quotes, jeweler was texting Lisa being like, she didn't even buy that. She's like, I mean, I wish Andy would have read some of those messages. The fact that he was like, yeah, it's not very good. Like,
I will say it also kind of doesn't make sense. Like, I think Lisa and Emma, this friend,
make sense.
because Bronwyn also went on Watch What Happens Live and like talked about it, but like the details she was saying didn't also add up to the reunion, where like she basically said that her friend or the jeweler was reached out to by a reporter, so that we can assume that might be Lisa, that might not be Lisa. And basically she said, we bought the necklace, but then given this economic environment or climate, we decided not to go forward with the necklace. So we got like a smaller one made, but then it became like we were having the smaller one made, but then like we found out about her talking to Lisa. So then we decided not to buy it. But then in the reunion, she's like, but we did buy it. So it's kind of like, what's the truth with the necklace to begin with?
Bronwyn's story definitely does not make sense.
Yeah.
I'll give you that for sure. But whatever. I don't like.
At the end of the
she
day,
bought it. She didn't buy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? Yeah, maybe. If the worst thing Todd and Bronwyn were doing were flexing in front of her friends, then yeah, I don't know, a little douchey, sure, if that's what happened. But like again, this is about Lisa again, like just flat out lying and making up stories and like just leveraging people and then going out of her way to like spy on people, get tea, get dirt, like.
Which she claims she never does.
Which she claims she never does. Like she essentially blackmails people. Like, you know, and this is all to protect her image and her brand. Well, never, even when it's talking about like falsely making accusations about fake miscarriages, she still can't humble herself to apologize.
Even when she brought up the daughter thing and whatnot, where she was just like, even if you hate me, if you're not friends with me, can you at least apologize for doing that to my daughter? And she's like, well, that's a lie. And it's just like
she is just so unable to like remove herself from her own point of view in any sort of way.
I'm just more shocked why Meredith and Heather ride for Lisa so hard. I don't like, what am I missing?
I like to think she's a good friend until like you come in her way.
That's not being a good friend though.
I like to think that Meredith rides less for Lisa and Lisa rides for Meredith, and that's why Meredith keeps Lisa around.
Maybe. Well, Heather, I don't know Heather's reason. Is Heather's reason only because like was it Bronwyn who brought up like going to high school with Heather, or Heather was kind of always obsessed with Angie?
Mhm.
Heather was like always obsessed with being like friends with the popular girls.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
And
Heather,
Lisa's, she's the popular girl.
Heather also went to college with Lisa BYU. Lisa said she was the good time girl. That was like a whole thing too. So I mean, I think Lisa's the popular girl and she's a socialite. So I think people want to surround themselves with her surrounding.
Yeah.
But I will say Todd did, and I kind of wish Todd didn't reference the like blowjobs rumors surrounding Lisa too. Where he was like, she uses you for the jazz suite so she doesn't have to work for it herself. And I'm like,
yeah, that was probably not great.
Wish we didn't go there, but
Yeah. But then he also said that what Lisa did on the after show was, quote, libelous. So
You think
that's
sue her?
I mean, he just said that. So it's definitely a strong word to use. And Bronwyn also said, this is really dastardly of her, which is an
Dastardly.
incredible word to use.
What does that mean?
Like dastardly, it's just like
Vile.
vile.
Wicked and
Yeah.
cruel.
Dastard. I don't know. It's a very Bronwyn word to use, and I enjoyed it.
Meredith did call Angie the backup dancer in the WAP video.
The most offensive thing that you can call Angie, I guess.
I liked you better when you were a backup dancer with Monica and Jen Shaw's WAP video.
And then Angie goes, I was a main character in the video. I wasn't the dancer, but I was a main character.
I am nobody's backup dancer.
Yeah.
I mean, this was obviously a stupid argument, but like
Angie acknowledged it was stupid too, by the way.
Yeah.
And again,
Like
I
after the fact.
and Angie's not upset about actually being called a backup dancer. I think she's saying that there's more context to it, as if like Meredith is calling her a follower,
Yeah.
like saying you're the backup dancer. Like that's what she thinks that.
I think I was
is.
Team Angie there too, because while stupid, you're right. My understanding is Meredith is using it as a dig
100%.
and saying you're less than because you did this.
Yes.
And even after Angie's like, no, I'm not. Meredith was like, well, you were
You were a backup dancer.
Were you not in the background of the video? It's like, well, yes, but
Meredith did claim that she was trying to get on the show every single season on our podcast too. So
And then Angie was on, I did hear an interview with Angie where she had said that she auditioned originally for the show, but didn't fully realize that she thought it was more of like a business opportunity. So she kind of like went in as businesswoman Angie versus housewife Angie. And so she didn't get it the first time. And that's why she said she didn't get it the first time. And it went to somebody else.
Are we faulting her for trying?
not at
No.
all.
No.
Not
Oh,
at
I
all.
love
It's just,
Angie.
I think it just is interesting context in the iconic feud that is Angie and Meredith.
And to be fair, she earned her snowflake getting
She did.
a flute of champagne dumped over her head by Jen Shaw.
That
So
she
I'm
did.
like,
San Diego.
She's
Also-
also my mom's favorite. So
I think it's fucked up that Brittany isn't just part of the reunion period. I just,
Well,
again,
she's a friend.
I don't give a fuck. She carried the season.
Nick, she can't sit on the couch though because Andy's gonna ask like 5 questions. She's gonna be like, "What about me?
yeah.
What about my turn?"
And I want to hear it every time.
Also, logistically speaking, friends don't sit on the whole time, I don't think.
No, they don't.
I know they
Yeah.
don't, but again, like,
I think. Do you think she'll be made housewife next season? I mean,
She's-
you said everyone's coming
As
back.
of now, we know that she's a friend still.
She's a
And she
friend.
also she's hired by the realty company that sold on SLC. So who knows if she's doing like a 2-season.
I mean, I am in no way a historian of Bravo, but like how many friends of shows carried the storyline as much as Brittany did? I know Alexis Bellino recently, but that's a very specific like lawsuit case.
She didn't carry.
She was brought on as a friend because of the lawsuit where they're like, yeah, Brittany, like, let's see what she's capable of. And she delivered.
So in Strack, when she was a friend, delivered.
I was gonna say sometimes it takes a couple seasons though because they want to make sure like lightning will hit twice. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Maybe you put all your best foot forward and then next season you're boring.
If there's any housewife I would bet on, it's Brittany. Because I can tell you lightning's going to strike a million times because
Because
it's
she's
complete
so-
lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's in her bones who she is.
She's a performer.
To her point, I think she needs to be full-time so we know her full character so she doesn't look so like coming out of the woodworks with what about me? Because clearly she has like family issues, drama, like trauma.
The
But, like-
only problem with Brittany being full time is that would be more Jared.
They are official now. So
I
Yeah.
want more Jared.
I don't.
No, I'm hearing the preview of what he texted Bronwyn, him saying that he's bigger than any man she's ever been with. Like, what a fucking
Again,
foul piece
you know,
of
we
shit.
obviously, I've been critical of Lisa Barlow's character, but her character on TV is must-see TV.
Oh, she's
and like,
incredible.
I don't want Lisa Barlow to leave Housewives. I
I guess I'm more so just like, I don't need the man, you know, like
If you're gonna
keep
have a
the
toxic
women,
person,
I don't need
yeah.
Jared's nasty like comments towards women, you know, it's like I could do without.
And stay out of Mary Cosby's DMs.
Yeah.
but we don't need, I mean, like, Jared, I don't know, like, he can have as much of a role as any of the husbands, which is not that much.
Listen, I say if you're spicing up the storyline,
Does he
by all
come to?
means.
He doesn't come to.
I don't think so.
Reunion,
I would
right?
assume that they weren't official by then. The
Yeah,
post came
truly,
after
yeah.
they shot, so
Do we feel like we have clarity now with the Whitney Alibaba of it all?
I feel like
She just got
made me
scammed.
she made me see her more guilty because I was like, I thought they stole your pictures. Now you're saying you did use the stock footage for a little bit.
My understanding of this world is like what Whitney was accused of is something that they all do.
Also, I am very glad that Andy was like, Lisa, you realize that like this one blogger's 10,000 followers
yes.
versus our platform. Like he finally called her out for being like, just because it's on one Instagram post and you bring it doesn't like equate to it being this rumor that everyone knows about and that you need to bring it to national television.
Lisa will call her people. She'll go the distance. She'll create a fake account, tweet something, and go, "Oh, look, this rumor's public. I'm going to talk about it."
Yeah.
Do you think Lisa DMs Meredith? Like that's the power dynamic there? Because Meredith is a queen of DMs. Lisa's the one of just knowing things that are happening.
People just tell me things.
I wouldn't
don't
put
ask.
it past them.
Yeah.
Should we get on to Southern Charm?
I was triggered by this episode.
Of Southern Charm?
Yeah.
In defense of Taylor?
I'm actually kind of getting into it.
Okay.
Because I hate JT so much.
Right.
JT's crazy.
I don't. I like him.
No, JT was the fucking loser fucking guy in high school who became friends with all the girls and just talk shit about all the guys who are actually dating the girls and make up rumors and like nothing. And it was just, he's not being Taylor's friend. He's fucking gossiping. And listen, if like there's an affair going on behind someone's back and it's still going on and you talk to your friend like, hey, you need to stop doing it, they don't do it. Like you might be forced to have a tough conversation with a friend to let them know, hey, some shit's going down, yada, yada, yada. But like this story is in the fucking past. Like no one's really a part of it. He brings it up out of nowhere. And like, it's also these vague accusations about a guy where, and then he throws Sally under the fucking bus and make it seem like she's like some adulterer, which like my understanding of the story is like, it sounds like maybe he had a girlfriend, they made up, they quickly broke up afterwards. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's okay. Like he made an accusation of like some ongoing affair.
Yeah, and JT was not there. And also don't forget the fact that last season JT was trying to get with Taylor. So it's like you telling this stuff about the boyfriend doesn't give altruism. It's giving, well, if you're single again, just know I'm the shoulder to cry on.
You're right.
Yeah, no.
I hate JT now.
He's just smarmy fucking troublemaker.
And
just, like,
I didn't appreciate Shep's 2 cents of being like, Gaston's fucking ugly. Why is anyone even trying to be like, he's... It's like, okay, Shep, you clearly are still in love with Taylor and you're just trying to like shoot down. I mean...
Sure, but at least, was it a douchey move by Shep? Sure, but I at least understand the motives and it's just like, it's his ex-girlfriend. He could be a little petty, fine. But like JT, no. Like, you're just... No one asked you. You're not involved. Like you're just fucking with this girl's like mental health. You're fucking with 2 women's mental health and you're throwing a guy under the bus, which is like, I don't know, maybe he did some shit. This wasn't like, again, not condoning if he made out with Sally when he shouldn't have made out with it, but I don't know, maybe he's done some work. I don't know. Like the accusations JT is throwing around about Taylor's boyfriend, like all the guys on the show have done some version of this kind of fuckboy. He's describing fuckboy behavior. And like most fuckboys grow out of this behavior and settle down and like start acting like a person who actually wants to settle down. And for all we know, that's Taylor's boyfriend.
And I couldn't love Craig more because Craig was literally just like, you're doing it again. This is none of your business. Why are you making this the topic of conversation? And why do you feel the right to be angry about it? It didn't happen to you.
Yeah.
I really like Craig. I really love his setup. Props, Craig. Your setup situation. Props. Love. I love that he's just like in family man mode. It really, listen, Paige and him didn't work out. It sounds like, they weren't meant to be. They wanted different things. I mean, Paige is all about independence, not wanting to settle down. Like
she's grinding. She's in
grinding,
her career mode.
She's a New Yorker through and
She's
through.
a New Yorker. Yeah. Like the more you hear them both talk about what they want, the more it makes sense that they ended their relationship. But I hope Craig finds his lady. He seems like he wants to be a good husband.
Yeah. Sally saying she sucked dick for a little bit.
A little bit.
That was a great line. Awesome line,
That
Sally.
was pretty awesome.
Not long.
And everybody like, what does that mean?
Well, first of all, like, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Sucked it a little
She
bit.
sucked a little dick.
Oh.
And then wrapped it up.
Was everyone like doing
Period.
marathon blowjobs
Oops.
or like everyone's like confused by she sucked dick for a little bit? I don't know.
Well, in my head, it's like, well, you probably did more than that. So you're just downplaying it by making it like just a little bit.
Nah, she was like, it was probably in the back of an alley. She's like, I don't know. She like licked it up. Looked at Nat for a little bit.
say-
She's like, you know what? Let's just fuck.
She said
She
just
said
the tip.
she did say like in the car or like by the car, right? It was something.
Oh,
I might have misheard the
I might have-
details, but
But yeah,
Yes,
maybe they were in an environment where like honestly foreplay was just like not the time. And she was like, what am I doing down here? Let's just
She said only for a little bit.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm
why
wasting time
Loved.
down here.
why is everyone so confused by that?
and then
I
the
don't know.
Vanita romance with JT, I'm also just like it's so orchestrated, and I love Vanita, but like
Can we
Yeah.
also say your party sucks if not only multiple people are leaving in a huff, but like the actual party thrower is the host of the party is also leaving his own party
I
in a
think
huff?
she's faking interest in JT just to have a storyline.
I just
think it's-
hate that Taylor, like her boyfriend, keeps getting thrown under. Like he's not on this show, you know. Like we see him
Right?
in in
Mhm.
tiny little glimpses. We have Sally, who's like was talking shit about him. We had her this episode even being like, he's an easy name to throw under the bus or whatever the hell she
is
slide
her
comment
boyfriend.
she said. But
Yeah.
it's just like, I just hate that this person who didn't sign up for the show is like the butt of every joke, you know, and is like everyone's trying to tear him down.
It's kind of giving like the end of Vanderpump, where it was like we were spending more time talking about fucking Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tom-
Joe. Oh my
Oh
God.
my gosh.
Schwartz is
Schwartz.
Joe, yeah.
You know, and like all, you know, there were all these like, you know, friends of and assistants and all these things where it's just because like I feel like the cast was just like either too tired of talking shit about each other. They didn't want the interrelationship drama. So they like brought these other people in. And that's kind of giving like we've run out of story.
It's just clear that like Taylor is finally happy and secure and like good in her life and her relationship, and like these people want to tear that apart.
Wanna-
And I'm just like,
Like they want to hold her to the person that she was last year while she was going through a tough time. And then also sounds like her boyfriend has a real job and just like wants to help her protect her peace when it comes to these people and filming.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
he's not trying to be the star of it. He's not trying to get in drama with everybody. So everyone's like, do you think it's your boyfriend telling you that you're not allowed to come to the party? And I'm like, maybe he just got back into town, wants to spend time with his girlfriend without cameras around because he's not on the show.
the way I saw it is that this group of cast friends are not friends with Taylor, because in the beginning Vanita's saying we all said we don't trust her. It's like, well, so we're just using her to like expose her, make her a storyline.
Scapegoat.
Mhm.
It's like, but
yeah,
she's
they were
just trying to be
friends with
happy.
her because of Shep, and they're loyal to Shep and not Taylor.
But it was really nice
They're
to
picking
see
on the pretty girl.
to see Molly's concert.
Yeah, she played
Yes.
music.
Yeah.
Molly did
Molly's
so
great. Her
great.
saying she can't play tuba as well because of her lip filler.
Oh.
It was so cute.
It sounded very good. I
Yeah.
don't think she get more lip filler, girl. I feel like you got more space.
Yeah.
Or put in there.
Oh my god, that embouchure, gorge.
The angle of her playing the tuba, I was like, I respect her so much that she was like, sure, put it there. I don't care what I look like.
Right.
Shout out to band kids in reality TV.
Erica
You don't
Jane
get to
would
see too
never.
many.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
might.
I did not know that Erica Jane's son is a cop.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've been known.
And he's on testifying or as a
A$AP
part of this
Rocky.
ASAP Rocky trial
Yeah.
that we were just talking about last week.
He
And
was
as a cop, we can only assume he's testifying against ASAP Rocky.
he was the cop that arrived to the scene first.
Yeah,
so
so
that's just
He's
his,
not testifying, I think, against or for. It's more so just like an accounts of like
facts.
what he saw when he arrived on scene.
But who's calling him to the stand? The prosecution or the defense? I'm guessing the
But both can.
prosecution. I'm sure that I know they both can, but I'm wondering who did.
I would assume
Usually it's the
whoever
prosecution.
went
I
first.
don't know.
Well, it's just kind of like, you know, we know that Rihanna is like DMing with housewives. She's a huge housewife fan. It's just kind of like
Mm.
crazy that one of the more iconic housewives' son is a cop testifying in her husband's case. And again, he's facing up to like 25 years in prison. This is not like fucking a jaywalking ticket. Like,
Crazy.
Well, and also what I read too is that he was offered a plea deal that would have ended in 6 months. Yeah. And so
and
then
I'm assuming you got to assume good behavior. Cut that in half.
3.
Yeah, it would have served maybe a month or two.
I
And
was
he was
gonna-
like, "Fuck that, no, let's go all the way."
I think you need to watch old Erica, like Girardi Jane scenes where she's talking about her son being a cop, because it's entertaining.
In what way, Justin?
Like, so there's, what was it? Was it Berlin? What was the trip where like Erica's like, don't ever talk about my son? There's that, which is iconic. Lisa Vanderpump was there. Then we have when Tom Girardi was caught. There was Erica spinning the story of when she found Tom Girardi, and she was like, he drove down a hill, and then my
It
son
was snowing
came.
out. My son was a police officer. Then he rolled his car 6 times, and it's just been a really tough
Oh,
time
yeah.
for me.
But it was
He rolled his
snowing.
car 6 times.
I remember
But
that.
then it was snowing
yeah.
during like the summer. Like there's
It
all
was
these
snowing in Beverly Hills
There's so many details.
in the
that, like,
summer.
It was a whole long monologue that
It
she
was
gave.
when she was
She's
like,
no
I don't.
Bren when it
people
comes to the
people
spin.
use it for like the I don't want to talk about. Tom's car was broken in, and he was. You know, it's like,
But then also Tom like did raise Erica's son as if it was his son too. So I mean, it's sweet on that part. But
Okay, sure.
Very entertaining surrounding the sun.
Tom's house was broken into. He confronted the burglar and then had to go have eye surgery. And then my son had to go over and help. And then my son, he rolled his car 5 times on the way home. So
Her son
I'm
rolled
under
his
a lot of
car,
stress.
Or Tom did.
It's unclear. When she was telling the story, it became different people, and then there's different details.
It
So
was like
yeah, I'm
when
under a lot of stress.
When she was like being cagey
That
with
part
being
I
able
believe.
to answer things, and it was like a conversation with Kyle being like, "How are you?" And she's just like, "Yep, this is what I'm doing." And so I'm saying I'm under a lot of stress, and it was just like
That's such an Aaron Brockovich line is the best part of it. That's how you are. 2 wrong feet and fucking ugly shoes. She could body that role.
I did see a headline recently of Kyle Richards' new reason on why she returned to Beverly Hills. Because every single week there's a new
Oh
headline.
my god, that's an amazing headline.
Mhm.
Her new reason?
I think
What
that-
was her first reason?
Her first reason was that she wasn't it that she had been on the show for so long
She
and
was
just like
overwhelmed.
needed a break.
She was overwhelmed and became depressed, so she quit for a week.
Yeah.
But then she returned because
Some of these
what
housewives
she
truly
knew.
cannot apologize. Like
Mhm.
they are
Yeah.
never wrong.
Kyle's current reason is that it's because she's known production for so long
Uh-huh.
and like it's such a big part of her life that she just like
for the team,
for the
family.
team and the family, she didn't want to walk away because it's
But
just
are these
such a big
words from
part of her
Kyle's
life.
mouth, or is these sources in?
Nope.
Those are words. I know that after 14 years of being on the show, production has been family to me, and through all my ups and downs, they have been a constant in my life. And I thought to myself, what would I do if all of a sudden that's removed from my life too?
Oh, she's an empath.
She also kind of made a statement about Bose. She was like, I left that thinking I'm done. I don't need friends like this. I don't need the money. Why am I here? Bose seems to really just only see through Dorit's lens, everyone, because they'd spent time together. And Dorit was just coming at me nonstop. And then Sutton and Garcelle, who are my friends, who know who I am, were all of a sudden back in it with Dorit, which makes no sense because they're always coming for Dorit. And then there I have Erica Jane, the only one who's standing up for me. Even Dorit came out and then Sutton didn't. And I'm like, wow, this is just like bam, bam, bam.
It's almost as if you're in the wrong if all your friends disagree with you.
You know?
Yeah, just be like, hey, listen, honestly, it wasn't my best moment as your friend. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
If like I said,
Yeah.
if I were in that shoes, I'd be mad too. So like, my bad.
Yeah. The thing about Kyle and that conversation with Dorit I can't get over is her being like, well, I never saw that side of PK.
It's like, okay.
And it's like, it's a little victim blamey on Kyle's part talking about Dorit, where she's like, well, I never saw that.
Yeah, the not wife of someone is
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, well, I didn't see his side," even though the one who's married to the man is like, "Huh?"
Yep.
And again, you're welcome to that opinion, Kyle, but you're clearly not having your alleged friends back. You are choosing sides, and you're choosing PKs, and that's fine. She can choose PKs, but like,
You got to deal with the consequences
don't-
of that.
you don't get to be like a good friend. Well, that wraps it up for today's episode of Reality Recap. Thank you to our guests, Robyn and Nikki of Traitors. Back on Thursday with a rock star episode. We got Heidi and Spencer. We got Olivia Holt. We'll see you then. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.